Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome back for an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He is the co-host. His name is Padawan J.
Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we have to just kind of talk very quickly about Monday night's football game. The Kansas City Chiefs almost were defeated by those New York football Giants, and a little bit of a spoiler for the show here.
I mean, not if you listen to Mahomes' wife, girlfriend, fiance, whatever it is. They proved all the haters wrong.
Right, and that comment awoke a beast.
Brock Lesnar?
It basically looks like him.
Habib?
I'm going to say leaning more Lesnar than Habib.
Kazmat Chimaev?
Quite possibly. I mean, in the right light, I can kind of see it. But no, returning to the ODPH podcast since the first time in a long time.
Do, re, mi.
Hey, yo, first time, long time.
Your senior sports editor, your coach, my coach,
The future coach of the Giants.
the coach, Coach Duffy.
Guys, it's week 8 and the headset's not working. Can we get this fixed, please? It's week 8. Come on.
I almost
Can we get this?
I almost spit my Gatorade.
All right, guys, it's good to be back. Everyone, hi, how are you? I've been coaching. I've lived up to the moniker, and I was a coach for football. 3-4 in the season, guys. Had started out 2-0, started out hot out the gate, and kind of fizzled from there. My son threw a touchdown pass, though.
Hey.
So that's what's up. 5-year-old playing first grade football.
Patty Mahomes, eat your heart out.
That's right. Kids coming for you. But yeah, guys, coaching's done. It was a brutally long stretch of a season. Coaching football is no joke. And it feels good to be back. I am still coaching lacrosse currently, and now I'll be coaching basketball. I said I wasn't going to.
But they pulled you back in.
These kids, man, my kids, they know how to pull in the heartstrings. You know, I get my 7-year-old daughter, Dad, but you coach Finn and everything. Can't you coach me in basketball? Oh, damn it. All right, sign me up. So I'm back. I'll be coaching Saturday morning basketball. But here I am, and yes, I'm ready to talk. I missed a lot. Bing bong.
Yes.
I missed a lot of shit, and I got a lot to get off. So let's go.
I know. When I saw you come in studio, I almost pulled the Sam Darnold because I thought I saw a ghost. That's why I say
life is real, man. Life is real. It's crazy.
I might have botched the intro, but it doesn't matter. The whole panel's in studio for the first time since summer, so let's get at it. You are listening to the sports edition of the ODPH, and we definitely want to interact with you, so swing on over to odphpodcast.com. Join in the conversation on our social media accounts. You can find all of them there. Parlay Points, complimentary blog section of the show. The TeePublic store, new designs are up right now, so you got to get that swag for the holidays, and so much more is at odphpodcast.com. And always remember to use the hashtag ODPHpod. Coach, let's see if you can remember how the show goes. It's the NFL season, so you know what we're doing. Locks and leaps.
Yes. And I have been participating. Was hot.
Yeah,
you were hot.
You were on a heater.
And then I fucking fizzled.
Yes.
Thanks, Jets.
It happens to everybody, so you know how we do it. We recap all the games of the NFL via the locks and leaps first, and then we'll give you a quick rundown of everything going on after that. So, Pad, why don't you start this game off?
Yeah, so I'll start with my lock. I chose the Buffalo Bills to beat the Miami Jets, which they did, although not without it being an interesting fashion. By the final score of 26-11, Josh Allen had 29 of 42 for 249 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Tua had 21 of 39 for 205 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Coach, since you are here, your thoughts.
Well, I mean, Ken, you are Tua's #1 fan and biggest supporter. So not to give him any credit, but he had played well up until the Buffalo game. I mean, you can't take it away from him. I mean, he had, 2 touchdowns last game, or 4 touchdowns the week before, so he's playing better. The Dolphins had looked stronger, but, I mean, the Bills are the Bills, man. Too much. there's too much firepower.
I'll say, 291 yards passing last week against Atlanta, as Coach mentioned, 4 touchdowns. 329 yards passing the week prior against Jacksonville, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Should note, both of those games are losses, which is just absolutely bonkers.
Well, that Falcons game, that was brutal. They just they left too much time on the clock.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I mean, so the Dolphins have been playing well, but I mean, Ken, you have to be feeling very good about your Buffalo Bills because they look great on both phases of the ball, offensively, defensively. They're running the ball well. Obviously, Josh Allen is going to Josh Allen, so you can trust him there. And I love the way that he runs when he does run.
Yeah.
I mean, it's smart. He's avoiding contact, and the hits he does take, they're minor little pushes or just a minor tackle. Like he's not taking like these, when you watch Patrick Mahomes run, he's getting these big, he's getting into big situations where he's getting hit hard. Not Josh Allen. And I mean, Josh Allen is just a big boy. So you don't want to hit him hard because it's going to hurt.
Takeaways from this for me, I will say the Bills started off very slow. A little too slow for my liking. Josh, I think, was trying to press too much, obviously coming off that heartbreaking loss to Tennessee. They had a bye week to sit on it, and it was kind of say, all right, what are we contenders or are we pretenders? And I thought they came out very hot the second half. They finally got it together. Lo and behold, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. We made second half adjustments.
Hey.
It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. The Bills finally got it together on offense on that second side because once Diggs was getting double-teamed, Josh Allen found Cole Beasley. And that's what you do when you don't have your number one option going. Josh adapted to the play. They were developing the run game, which I did like, but I thought they went away from it too early at times when they were really sustaining ground, keeping the defense honest. However, though, that second half, that's when they really got it together, and I thought they played great. Tua, I will say this. Ever since that Deshaun Watson trade drama started, he got a little more focused. He has looked better. I will say this. But I'm also going to stand my ground. He's got to get the hell out of Miami. He's got to go somewhere else. Because I don't think this team is fully behind him, and I think that's going to be haunting him throughout the offseason. It's going to be a very dicey situation to go with him.
Well, I think the problem is that obviously Dolphins ownership is infatuated with the idea of Deshaun Watson and having a right now Pro Bowl level quarterback. Obviously controversy aside. So I think that does hurt Tua. And I mean, it's a lot of these young rookie quarterbacks who, that first year kind of flutter, always hear when there's a veteran quarterback out there, those names, and I mean, Tua, not to say that I know him well, but, it doesn't seem like the kind of guy that has that strong alpha personality that when he hears those rumors, it's not going to bother him. I don't, I mean, obviously in Alabama, he wasn't ever benched, so he didn't have to worry about it. But, when he did in that national championship game get pulled for Jalen Hurts and they tried to put him back in the second half, you could tell he wasn't the same player. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that having your name be associated to being benched and traded or moved for a guy that's a veteran, hurts confidence a little bit.
Well, I think it's been kind of lingering around there. That's the one point with him is just.
But now this week was trade deadline, so it was like, in his back of his mind, he's like, any moment this is going to happen, and I'm going to hear my name either gone or second string.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not saying this as a Patriots fan. I'm just as a sports fan. If I'm a Bills fan, this game, at least it's the start of it, concerns me a little bit. Because you look at the game they had, what was it, week 2 against Miami, where it was 14-0 Buffalo by halftime. By the fourth quarter, it was 21-0. They were absolutely dominating the Dolphins on all sides of the ball, even special teams. You look at this game, it's 3-3 at halftime. It's, 10-3 by the fourth quarter. This is a team you a couple weeks ago, not that long ago, not like great massive changes have been made by the Dolphins in the weeks preceding or leading up to this game. This is a team that you hung 21 points unanswered on in 3 quarters of football. And you get through 3 quarters of this and you only put up 10. This would concern me if I'm a Buffalo Bills fan because in my honest opinion, you got lucky with this one because a team like Miami couldn't quite hang with it. But if you go up against another team, say in the playoffs, and you have this slow start, You're not going to have that luxury of having a team that can't quite get it going like Miami. You can't start slow like this.
I agree with you, but I disagree with you.
Okay.
I do agree that they can't afford to have slow starts like they had. But one thing is, we talk about this all the time on the show. Rivalry games, division games, it's very hard to pull sweeps. It really is.
No matter what the level of opponent is.
Exactly.
You know?
I thought the Dolphins, and I'm going to give them credit for this, came in with a lot more different defensive schemes that threw Josh off. And I'm sure that when the guys had this game circled on the calendar after the bye week and coming off that loss, they thought they just flipped the switch on and go week 2 on them again. They didn't pick up on right away what Miami was doing.
Sure.
And I think that is a cause for concern. But once they made those adjustments, especially Josh, who I thought was really pressing himself to do too much and try kickstarting that high-octane offense instead of doing what he was working with, and that was going short to Cole Beasley. Once he started doing that, that opened up the playbook a lot.
Oh, sure.
But that beginning, I will admit, that was rough because he's trying to bomb it all the way downfield.
Because the way I'm looking at it is, let's just say you're in a playoff scenario. Baltimore, Cincy, Kansas City, as bad as they are, Kansas City, you never know.
Oh, sure,
turn it on.
Absolutely.
The Raiders, hell, even the Colts, none of those, if the Bills start slow and have a similar performance like this in the playoffs, any of the teams I mentioned are not going to simply put up 3 points by halftime.
I agree. I fully agree. I think what they did is they took Miami too lightly coming out of the gate. I thought that they were expecting to just fully bulldoze them again. It didn't happen, and it took a while for him to get adjusted. But that's also, Josh is still coming into his own as a quarterback. I mean, I know everybody's ready to anoint him as MVP. I'm not there just yet. He's in the conversation. I mean, if you want to take my personal feelings out of it, he's in that conversation.
Sure.
But I'm not crowning him yet. It's what a young team is still going to have to find ways to win. And they did, because this team did step up and give them some problems. I hate saying it because I can't stand Miami.
Yeah.
But they did give them problems. But that defense really bailed Josh out, which I was happy to see. We were applying some pressure on Tua, and we really shook him very well, that he could not get that offense clicking like he had been doing against some other teams. So it's something they're going to have to learn about and grow forward. I'm expecting them to come out a lot hotter next week, because I saw who they're facing next week.
Oh, yeah.
Pad?
They are facing the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Yes. So I'm expecting big things next week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we said it. You play a team twice. You've got that interdivision rival game. The Dolphins came out there and probably thrown something different than what the Bills were used to seeing on film. And you game planned one way. And the biggest thing is, and why I'm not sweating it, is because you came out at halftime, made adjustments, and you got better. I mean, you have to do that when you play a team a second time. I mean, you come out there, you study the tape, you see their tendencies, and you say, all right, this team runs zone, 45% of the time, so we need to be prepared when they're dropping that safety deep and one in the box, that they're probably running a cover 3, and all of a sudden, they're dropping the safety back, and now they're running cover 2, and you're running plays that are set for a cover 3. So, once you get to halftime, you say, all right, hey, Josh, what are you seeing out there? Well, they're doing this and that. All right, well, we'll make adjustments, and then they went out and put points on the board.
Yeah, and that's what smart teams do. So.
I mean, to me, I actually walk away feeling more confident about this Bills team, saying, all right, as long as they can make those adjustments at halftime, they're going to be okay.
Yeah. No, I fully do. I haven't lost any confidence in them. I was happy to see they made those second half adjustments because they typically don't.
Right. Well, and I mean, teams kind of, especially when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, they get in the mindset of, no, we're just greater than you, and we're going to beat you our way. But when they take that away, I mean, I know we're going to get into it later, but I mean, you look at what the Giants did last night to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Defensively, I mean, obviously it wasn't a flawless performance, but they threw something at them that they weren't ready to see, which were 3 high safeties, and they forced Mahomes to dink and dunk everything and move it downfield. And then when they did that, that's when they started to put pressure on them, because you're back up against the goal line, in relative terms to the Giants.
Sure.
And you can afford to blitz now. So, I think Miami played a good defensive game plan. It's just the Bills obviously made the right adjustments, and now they're on to Jacksonville. Yeah. And yes, you will see them dump it all over them.
It's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Yes.
On paper, it should be. I should put that. But, Pat, you got those schedules ready to rock and roll for that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, they play Jacksonville next week, and then after that, they've got the Jets, Colts, Saints, Patriots, Buccaneers, Panthers, Patriots again, Falcons, and then Jets to close out the year.
The Colts game will be a big test.
Uh-huh.
The most boring team in football against one of the more high-scoring teams in football.
Well, not only just that, but the Colts obviously can run the ball and have been running the ball well now that they've realized that Jonathan Taylor is their RB1. And then you're going into that next game, against a very good Bucs team. So that will be a big test too. I mean, so that's why I think the Colts game is going to be a really big showing for what this Bills team will be moving forward.
Fully agree. I think that they got to beat the smaller teams. And like I say, Jacksonville, that should be an easy one. The Jets, that's got to be another one too. Carolina, I'm not afraid of Sam Darnold. I'm not afraid of no ghosts. So we'll kind of see how it all plays out. But let's get to that leap, shall we, Pat?
Yeah, so for my leap, I kept it in the AFC East. I chose the New England Patriots to beat the the Los Angeles Chargers.
They're always San Diego.
No, they played like the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, they did. With the Patriots winning by the final score of 27-24. Mac Jones, 18 of 35 for 218 yards passing. No touchdowns or interceptions. Justin Herbert, 18 of 35, 223 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
I don't get this Chargers team. I don't understand them. I don't get it. They come out there and they play 3 straight weeks of flawless football, especially after that bad Dallas loss. Mm-hmm. And you sit here and you're like, ooh, this team is a contender. I like that. Herbert, what he's doing, Bosa defensively, ooh, boy. And then all of a sudden, they come out in a game like this against the Patriots at home where they should win. Pat,
completely.
they should have won this game.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then they put up a stinker of a performance. Herbert absolutely crushes my fantasy team that I know that he gives a shit about, that he absolutely killed me. And, I just don't get it. And, I mean, good for the Patriots here because that's a win that they had to have. Uh-huh. They needed this win. And they went out on the road and they did it. And, wild card berth, not out of the question.
No, especially with Tennessee.
I liked a couple, and I'll stick to the, there was the trade rumor, obviously, or trade deadline was today. And I'm going to stick to my guns here. And I think next offseason, OBJ. I've said it from ever. They need that downfield stretch play type guy. And what does Bill Belichick do better than revive people's careers? Mm-hmm. He'd fit perfectly. And Mac Jones would absolutely thrive with him there. And not that he's not thriving right now, but he'd be even better. But yeah, I mean, so I just, this is a good win for the Patriots.
I'm not opposed to the OBJ thing. It's just I don't know how it would work given the financial and the cap space. But hey, that's what the financial department's for. I'm let them handle it.
I mean, listen, at right now where he is in his career, he is 100% not only going to have to take an umpteenth $1 trillion pay cut to fit in somewhere, because the only way that he can revive his career is to be like Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And show, hey, 1 year, I'm willing to put my neck on the line, play for a veteran minimum, and then we can talk next offseason.
It'd be the smart move to do.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a win-win. What do you have to lose if you're the Pats? Nothing. What do you have to win if you're Odell Beckham Jr.? A big payday. Win-win.
Yeah. No, I mean, this was, like you mentioned, great win for the Patriots, as you mentioned. Chargers had a great 3-game win streak. They beat the Chiefs, beat the Raiders, beat the Browns.
I don't understand.
And then they had the stinker where they got hosed by Baltimore 34-6.
Yeah, but that was West Coast coming east.
Yeah.
1 o'clock game, blah, 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 blah.
So you had everyone and their mother ready to crown this team as like the next AFC champs.
I was one of those people with my mother, actually. She said the same thing.
So you got people ready to crown the Chargers as the next AFC champs, and here comes little old New England coming in and stealing a win. It was an away game, but let's face it, the number of Patriots fans in that stadium, it was basically a home game, as per usual with the Chargers. But I think this ultimately came down to, the Patriots defense stepping up. The secondary always does very well. And you just look at the stats. Herbert, 223 yards passing. He had the 2 interceptions, one crucially late in the game that really sealed the deal. It was a pick 6. But then you just look at what's the one thing I have always said with the Patriots defense where it sucks. Mm-hmm. Run defense.
Yeah.
Our run defense is fucking atrocious. I've said it for years. I don't think it's been good since like the early 2000s.
Yeah, you've always said that.
Facts. I'm looking at their rushing stats here. Justin Jackson, 3 carries, 79 yards. Okay, through 3 busted runs, whatever. Austin Eckler, 11 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. Larry Roundtree III, 4 carries, 11 yards, no touchdowns. Justin Herbert, 2 carries, 9 yards, no touchdowns. There's one issue where you could have won the game. You run the ball against the Patriots, who very traditionally have a god-fucking awful run defense. Burn the clock. And 9 times out of 10, we're not going to be able to fucking stop you. Hello, that Cleveland game where Nick Chubb ran down our throat.
What would you say about burning clock?
Yeah. But I think it just came down to, the Chargers just couldn't capitalize. And I'll admit it, the Patriots got lucky, especially that pick 6 late in the game. But it was a gritty, gutsy win. And I like what I'm seeing. Mac Jones, not his best game, but shit, kid still put up 218 yards against what's supposed to be a very good Chargers team.
I think one thing that people are forgetting right now is Mac Jones is a rookie.
Yeah.
And that is...
With the receiving core, he's still dedeveloping relationships with.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the most puzzling thing to me outside looking in that everybody is already thinking this kid is a vet, but he's playing like he's such a high level.
A testament, to his professionalism and where he came from.
I'll say this ain't, Joe Burrows and his teammate from LSU who, oh, yeah, we've already played together, or even Jalen Hurts with what's-his-face, the receiver they just drafted from
Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith,
yeah.
who they played together.
Yeah.
Mac Jones has never played with any of these receivers. He's still developing these these relationships and still figuring out the NFL game.
You, Pad, are welcome.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for that preseason game against the Giants, you probably still would have Cam right now.
Could be.
So, tip of the cap. Just say thank you.
No,
That's all you need to do.
Thank you.
All right. Listen, I was wrong. Mac Jones is a fine player and will be a fine player. And he is in the mold of a Mr. Brady. That just, he's going to do well. He's not a game manager. He's a little bit more than that. But he's also not going to make the big blunders that's going to cost you games.
He's very poised for this.
He's very poised. And the biggest thing is that they're calling plays right now where they're giving him options as far as making sure there's an available wide receiver for him to get the ball to. And that is the biggest thing, because obviously in college, when you have the wide receivers that he did, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, yada, 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 you have the ability to throw the ball and people are open all the time.
Well, especially when you're playing teams like the Citadel.
Sure. But this year, in the NFL, when the window of opportunity is that much smaller, you have to throw these guys open, and he's still doing that. But they're also scheming so people are open. And I mean, they're not stretching the field out vertically like, they probably want to just yet. They will, and they're going to get there, and then they're going to be even more dangerous. I mean, they're doing this without, mind you, they traded Stephen Gilmore, who's still probably the best corner in the NFL, and they still have a pass defense that's in the top 10.
But that's kudos to Belichick and what he does.
Sure.
I mean, that's the thing. He, like you touched upon with OBJ, you could take anybody and get the most out of them, whatever stage of the career they're in. Like, that's the one great thing about Belichick is he is the best at developing talent. He sees what he's got in Mac Jones, and that's why he goes into these games where, let's face it, the Chargers are the most inconsistent team in all the NFL. I don't think there's any question about that. It's not who is Atlanta, what is Atlanta. It is what Charger team is going to play today.
Sure.
Because they have all the talent on both sides of the ball, and every week you don't know who's showing up.
Yeah, it's wildly inconsistent, their performance.
So say even just down to Herbert last week a couple weeks ago against the Browns, 398 yards of passing. Just from Herbert. So like a sneeze away from 400. In the next game, 193 against Baltimore, and then 223 against the Patriots.
And I know we're blasting a 3-point loss to a Patriot team, but it's like, this is a game that the Chargers needed to win.
Oh, yeah.
You're at home. You're coming off that big game against Cleveland. You're playing one of the more upper teams in your conference, and you got to come out with a win. And you put up this performance. And this is the type of game that good teams win.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they needed to beat them by 30, but they should have at least been up a touchdown.
Well, and also this is a game the Chargers needed to win because let's face it, with the Chiefs, and we'll get to them in a little bit, as down as they are, this is the most wide open opportunity you're going to get for quite some time to outright win the division. Because as we stand right now, Raiders are in first place 5-2, Chargers are in second place 4-3, Chiefs are right there 4-4. Chiefs might not, unless they go on a ridiculous run, might not win the division. So this is the most wide open opportunity you have for like the next decade to win the division, and you're kind of squandering it right now.
You hit it right on the head there, Pat. They had to win this game. But I'm going to say right now, they're pretenders. I'm not even worried about them getting in the postseason because you know what? If you put up games like this moving forward, and let's face it, they're going to.
Right.
What is there to be worried about this team?
No, I mean, they come to Buffalo on a nice, snowy, cold day.
It's a wrap.
I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, it's one and done for them.
They would need, I mean, not that they have home field advantage because obviously, they don't wherever they are.
Yeah.
But, you come out west, it's supposed to be a different story. But they come out east, no way, Jose.
Well, funny you mention that. They will be in Cincinnati on December 5th. They will be in the Meadowlands playing the Giants on December 12th. And then they'll be in Denver at 4:05 in the afternoon on January 2nd.
Yeah, I mean,
yikes.
Yeah, those are recipes for disasters. I mean, the Giants game's whatever because that's a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, I mean, they should be used to going to Denver and playing in that environment, but we'll see. But I'm more so like, I'm saying January, Denver, playoff game, that atmosphere,
Potential
them fans,
blizzard.
that weather condition, they will absolutely get thrashed because they are not mentally strong enough to handle that type of game.
Fully agree with you. They're going to be one and done. It's not even going to be fun talking about them in the postseason unless we see something different between now and then.
And I'm not saying it.
And it's a shame because I mean, they're Notre Dame West. I mean, they've got multiple Notre Dame players on there, so I, cheer for the Chargers in my back pocket. And it's head scratching. And I mean, I've got Herbert, I've got Mike Williams, I've got Keenan Allen. Like, I've got players on the Chargers that I'm like riding for my fantasy football life right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching these performances, and I'm like, one week I can, the Cleveland game, I'm like, oh, Herbert, oh, Mike Williams, let's go. And then the next week I'm like, can we please get the ball in the red zone and score a touchdown? Like, my God.
Yeah. It's something they're going to have to work on moving forward, but for the Patriots, this is a solid win and a confidence booster like you wouldn't believe. I could see them making that wild card spot. It's looking better and better for them each week.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I know.
definitely with Tennessee now.
Well, then we'll get to that in a minute, though.
Yeah, but looking at Patriots' schedule moving forward, they've got the Panthers this coming week. After that, they've got the Browns, Falcons, Titans, Buffalo for the first time all season.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
Bye week in week 14. Then they've got the Colts, Buffalo again, Jacksonville, and Miami to close out the year.
So they could put some nice wins together there. The Buffalo game will be be the real test for them, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that just being a homer. I think
No,
that,
I mean,
think
it's real.
but it's real. But yeah, I know I always have to clarify because
no, you don't have to clarify shit. You're a Buffalo fan, but yeah, that's Pat's a Pats fan.
Oh, it's a test.
That's a real game.
Yeah,
that's a real game.
It's a real game, and we'll see what Mac Jones has going forward. Because if they pull off what the Jets did to the Cincinnati Bengals,
Segway.
who does it better? Who does it better?
I missed it.
Then, like I say, the Patriots could pull off some miracles here, and they could definitely make a run into the playoffs. But about those New York Jets, though, my lock went up in smoke this week.
A lot of people's parlays probably went up in smoke.
Should have smelled this a mile away. This was 100% a trap game.
So the Jets ended up winning by the final score of 34-31. Greatest QB not named Joe Namath to wear the Jets colors.
Ooh, don't disrespect Vinny Testaverde.
Mike White went 37-45 for 405 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Joe Burrow, 21 of 34 for 259 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And I do got to say, I mentioned the Mike White stat because I normally do. I did see online there was a guy who put a parlay bet down that Mike White would have more passing yards than anybody else in the NFL. And with neither Patrick Mahomes nor Danny Dimes throwing for 405 yards passing last night, the dude made out with like $125,000. On a bet on Mike White.
Something's fishy there, in my opinion.
I mean, brilliance is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, so I should have smelled that this was a trap game. I should not taken it as my lock. The Bengals just won arguably their biggest game in franchise history in the last, 10 years?
Easy.
I mean, since probably Andy Dalton and went against the Steelers when they were both like 5-0 or some shit like that. So this had trap game written all over it. They were coming in the Meadowlands. The Jets obviously playing carefree right now that Mike White is the quarterback, missing their number one wide receiver, and they just went out and played loose. And I think this is the best game that the Jets have had probably since the Titans game. And the Bengals obviously just need to, same thing with the Chargers. Both of these teams, the common theme that they have is they're both young. So they have to learn that grittiness, that, okay, we beat Baltimore, we celebrated, Monday, film, back to work. And that's what these veteran teams, that's what the Bills learned last year. That's why the Bills are coming out killing teams, because they learned, especially after that week 1 loss against Pittsburgh, that, this shit's real. The NFL is real. And, that was an eye-popping moment, and I think this is going to be Cincinnati's. They are going to come out from this, and they are going to grow. And it's a good win for the Jets and the Jets franchise, but, you're going to keep playing yourself out of these top picks, and you're only hurting yourselves. But I know, you want your team to win, but it's a little painful when you're beating the top teams in the AFC, and you're 2-5.
Yeah, no, I agree with Coach. Kudos to the Jets. You did pull off a seemingly impossible win, because let's face it, as the coach mentioned, they're 2-5. They're not going anyplace, and they're playing with house money. So you definitely got to give kudos to the Jets, but I got to admit, I did not realize that this could be a trap game until Coach mentioned it, because I'm looking at the Bengals schedule. Their game this coming week is against the Cleveland Browns. So divisional game, potential playoff implications, this is absolutely a trap game, and this is like Coach said, this is a growing moment for the Bengals. You got to learn from this. You not take your eye off the ball, but hey, again, kudos to the Jets, because let's face it, Jets fans, you're not going to have a lot to celebrate this year, and this is one of those lone moments.
Watching this game live, my takeaway was this. The Bengals took them way too lightly in the first half because they're the Jets. An unknown is sitting there, and he's not throwing the ball downfield, but Mike White was just literally passing about 10, 15 yards per pass attempt. It felt like watching this.
I'll say he averaged 9 yards.
Yeah, and you could definitely see it. It was just little dump passes, which worked.
Right.
But what I thought the Bengals did wrong is they did not make adjustments quick enough. Sure, they were 17-14 at half.
Yep.
But as we talk about with the Bills in Miami, the Bills made the right decisions offensively early in that second half. Like, they really finally got the ball rolling. In my opinion, Cincinnati didn't.
I'm say Cincinnati only put up 14 points in the second half. The Jets, 20.
Right, because once the Jets got that ball rolling, they were moving the ball down the field pretty much at ease, but it was boring football, but it worked. Like, that's the big takeaway from it. And then that egregious helmet-to-helmet contact penalty they got at the fourth quarter, that's what killed their drive, because as you saw, and that's so tough to call, too, because as you see they're going and then the receiver leans his head in, too, it's like, how does a defender justify against that?
I missed Daniel Jones be knocked into fucking la-la land and not have a flag called on him. So, I don't understand. Like, in college football, I get. You see a player leave his feet or lead with his head, it's targeting, and it's getting flagged and the guy's getting ejected. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
In the NFL, I don't understand the rhyme or reason for it, and there isn't one, because you have this play, and then you have the one in Cincinnati, or not Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, with the fake kick.
Yeah.
And then you have this, this one where it did. So it's like, it's got to be, honestly, I hate the college rule, because I don't like the fact that intent isn't considered in it. You know what I mean? Like, like Kyle Hamilton against North Carolina, obviously left his feet and got, the receiver was kind of in an awkward position and it was unavoidable, and boom, you're kicked out and then you miss the first half of the next game. So, like, I think intent should be reviewable too, but it's just there needs to be more consistency with the rule in the NFL.
I'll give you that. I think they definitely should take a look this offseason and really fine-tune that rule.
Yeah, I mean, I know 2 years ago they had it where even if the running backs were deemed to be leading with the crown of their helmet, they were getting flagged. But it's like, that's such an impossible position as a running back, because when you're going through the hole, you're taught your whole life that you need to be small and run, with protecting the ball. So you innately, put your head down. I mean, I'm doing it right now in the studio.
Yeah.
And where's my head's going? I'm in a chair. And my head still goes down. It's just, that's the position of the body. So I know they got rid of that, thank God, during the offseason when they were trialing it. But the targeting rule from college should be implemented here. And so that way it's consistent and you know every time what it's going to be.
I fully agree. And that's one thing that, like I say, I can't stress enough. They really got to take a look at this offseason, because now you're seeing it impact games. This was a defining moment that went against Cincinnati, and this sealed the deal more than the final points for the Jets.
Sure.
So for them, Cincinnati really has to figure out, okay, if we're really contenders, we got to be more consistent about beating the lesser teams. Because I'm sorry, the Jets did not impress me as like, okay, they finally put it together.
No, fuck no.
But they played small ball on one of the most high-scoring offenses in the league and just dimed them to death.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing, though. And I know we were, I was in the Twitter board in our message group, and I was kind of going nuts about, like, the NFL offense, it's evolving, right? The downfield passes, the big arm quarterbacks, like, that's all the thing right now, right? That's all the rage. Like, everybody wants the next Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. They want their quarterback to be able to throw 70 yards in the air and hit a wide receiver in stride. But at the end of the day, when defenses are taking that away more and more, you have to be able to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands and get guys open and dink and dunk at the same time. So, like, the Bills did that. They adjusted, and then they were able to dink and dime, and you can move the ball up the field that way.
Sure.
And then the question becomes, because every defense, everybody thinks, when you're in the red zone, the offense has the advantage because all they need to do is go, 20 yards and score a touchdown. It's the opposite. The defense has the advantage because you're up against the end line, and now the defense can play to space because they know I have to stop you from getting here and here only. So, when it comes to that, then the question becomes, all right, if you're going to dink and dime your way down the field, can you, when you're in the red zone, can you score?
Yeah.
And that's what good teams do, and that's what bad teams can't stop. That's what Cincinnati couldn't do. They couldn't stop the Jets in the red zone, and that's what you have to be able to do to be a great team.
The Jets won in possibly a more Colts fashion than the Colts did. It wasn't
Oh, that's a good take.
It wasn't sexy. It wasn't pretty. I still maintain there is nobody on that Jets offense, and I'm sitting here going, there's a guy I fill in for my fantasy team this week. But I do have to give the Jets defense some credit because they did effectively shut down the most dynamic wide receiver in the NFL, not named Cooper Kupp, in Jamar Chase, who only had, 3 catches, 32 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Read off his stats last week that he was averaging over 20 yards a catch. They shut him down for this game, and hey, kudos to you.
It's a wild scenario to play out, but for Cincinnati, they're going to have to find a way to bounce back. Cleveland's going to be a tough test for them, no question about that. And for the Jets, well, Mike White is starting this week again for them, so no real surprise there. Is there a controversy at quarterback for
Until
the Jets?
Darnold can come back? No.
Oh, God.
Once Darnold comes back, then we can have that conversation.
Well, Ghostbusters is coming out to movie theaters in November.
Heyo.
Just saying. But, Coach, I know you want to talk about your team. Shall we give you the floor and let you talk about
You want to dive that? Yeah, we can take the Giants for a trip. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go.
Pat.
Let's go take a trip to Monday Night Football land, where we're talking upsets. We almost had another one for the metropolitan area.
Yeah, we did. Kansas City won by the final score of 20-17. Patty Mahomes, 29 of 48 for 275 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Danny Dimes, 22 of 32 for 222 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
So I was dumb and I stayed up for this.
Hey, yikes.
And I was at halftime. My wife turned to me, "Hey, Sean, you gonna go to bed now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna. I just let me see how the third quarter starts." And the Giants went down. They drove the ball well. They looked good. They obviously got stopped. And damn it. I got sucked in and I watched the rest of the game. My God, I don't understand. I don't get it. Why? You call timeouts in the second quarter because you are trying to save the clock, right? You know Kansas City's going to score. You're calling the timeout so you can get to the 2-minute warning and still have 2 minutes plus to try and drive down and score. Okay. I mean, that doesn't even get it started on the first quarter. When you're in the red zone, you go for it on 4th down instead of just kicking a field goal and going up on the Chiefs 3-0. Like, what are you doing? You're on the road. You always take the points on the road. You always take the points on the road. I don't care if you're on the goddamn 1-yard line. You take the points on the road.
Facts.
Like, you have to, especially when you are a 2-5 football team and you aren't playing well. You take the points, you go up 3-0, you go on defense. And they went for it, turned it over. Then Kansas City went down, scored, so now they're up 7-0. And then you just sit here and you're getting to the half, you're going into the half, you're calling these timeouts early because you're like, all right, we're going to get the ball back with 2+ minutes, we're going to be able to drive, we're going to be able to spike the ball, we're going to be able to get out of bounds, like whatever. You call these timeouts, you get nowhere because you run out of time because you only had 2 timeouts because you burned one in the first quarter. I don't get it. Then you get into the third quarter, defense is playing great. They were confusing the shit out of Patrick Mahomes. That's a whole nother can of worms. I don't know what's going on with Kansas City because Patrick Mahomes looks broken.
Patrick Mahomes in 8 games this year has as many interceptions as he's had the last 2.
No, I know it's
2 seasons combined.
It's wild. Like, I don't know. I mean, they were. I know they were running the 3 safety look, and they were bend don't break. They were just absolutely like, hey, when we get you into the red zone, we're going to put pressure on you, but we're going to wait till we get down there till the field shrinks. And it was a perfect strategy. It worked out beautifully because they held them. They only gave up 1 touchdown in the red zone, so kudos to the Giants. And then, offensively, you sputter. I know Kadarius Toney, and I haven't gotten to talk about him much because I haven't been here at all. This dude is electric. My God. He's Tyreek Hill 2.0. And you don't fucking use him.
QB1, 1-1 for 19 yards.
You don't use him. He was on the field for 40% of the offensive snaps. What the what are you doing? The game has passed Jason Garrett behind. He can't be an offensive coordinator anymore because he is too old school. I don't get it. He should be on the field, and his ankle was fine, allegedly. Then he should be on the field every time. And every time you run the ball, I don't know if you guys watch the game closely, but every time the Chiefs run the ball, they send Tyreek Hill in motion. They run the opposite way, and then Mahomes and Tyreek Hill roll out for a fake boot. And, I mean, that would be electric. Teams wouldn't know what to do. Because if Daniel Jones runs it, goodbye. If he gets the ball to Tony in space, absolutely goodbye. And you know what? If you overplay the pass, then the run's there, and, Booker is serviceable. So anyway, then you get to the fourth quarter or third quarter, you burn a timeout because your defense isn't aligned correctly. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Eli even said on the broadcast, timeouts aren't for the defense. Timeouts are for us. So you burn that timeout in the third quarter because your defense isn't aligned right. Then you burn another timeout in the fourth because your defense isn't aligned.
I'll make a comparison I think, Ken, you'll appreciate. Burning a timeout on a defense is like getting a penalty for too many men on the ice in hockey.
Facts.
You're fucking stupid.
Facts.
And then Kansas City's drive. First off, then you have that great interception by Darnay Holmes. Well, first off, you have that fumble by Travis Kelce that only leads to a field goal. Then you have that interception by Darnay Holmes get called back because Jose Simmons goes offsides on a 2nd and 20. What are you doing? What are you trying to jump? What snap are you trying to jump? Just play protection. Play back. Sit on your heels. Wait for the ball to be snapped. You're looking right at it. No, we have to jump off sides. Free play, Darnay Holmes interception, declined, 5-yard penalty on the defense, Kansas City ball, 2nd and 15. Of course, they go down and drive on that one, score a touchdown. And I'm like, I should have gone to bed. This is dumb. So now the Giants got 1 timeout, and they burn the second timeout after a first down play that Kansas City gets a first down on, which you never do. You wait for the next drive to start so that way you can try and force them into 4th down. So they burn a timeout after a first down play. Then they drive down the field, and then they're inside the red zone. and they have one timeout left. They run a play at about the 3:30 mark that it was a run up to the right side. They tackle, and there's about 2:40 left to go on the clock. Does Joe Judge call a timeout then? He's been calling timeouts all game. All game he's been calling timeouts. Like Chris Webber in the house calling timeouts.
Wow.
And instead he waits. He waits to call the timeout. So they take 40 seconds. Think about how long in football 40 seconds is.
You could do your taxes with that amount.
It's eternity. As somebody who had to learn clock management this year coaching Pee-wee football at a flag level when there's no clock stoppage, stop touching my mic, Ken, I'm screaming. Yeah. You got to call timeouts. And they let the clock go 40 seconds.
I can verify what Coach is saying while I did not watch the game, except for that ending. I'm looking at the play-by-play. The Giants did, in fact, use their second timeout with like 3 minutes and 27 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And then everything Coach mentioned did happen. You had a run to the right, at 2:41, and then you had the 2-minute warning.
40 seconds off the clock. Then it's third down, and Patty Mahomes brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly, takes a sack instead of trying to force the ball into coverage and either have an interception or a clock stoppage. No. He takes the sack and then they call the timeout. So now instead of getting the ball back with 140 probably-ish, 140 left, they get the ball back with 107.
Yep.
And no timeouts. And then they go on offense, and they can't get anybody open. And, I mean, Nate Soldier, in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget that name from me venting for the last 7 fucking years, it feels like.
Could have told you about that one.
He playing right tackle now because he's too slow to play left. Sack.
The man's good for a couple penalties a game, and that's about it.
Oh, soul-crushing this game, too. Then, on the left side, the next play, they get a pass to Evan Ingram. He gets out of bounds. It's now 2nd and 7. Then he gives up the pressure, sack.
Yep.
Clock running. Receivers got to come back. Third down, another sack. This time from the left side, thanks to Matt Pert, who's playing left tackle because Andrew Thomas is hurt because every fucking Giant is hurt. Then they call a play on fourth down, and Daniel Jones tries to pretend like he fumbled the ball, and Billy Price, the center that they picked up from Cincinnati, who was literally going to get cut, who they didn't pick up the rookie extension for because they knew he was a dumpster fire, picks up the ball on the fumble, which is obviously against the rules. It would have been flagged anyway. And he slides. He runs 3 yards on a 4th and 6 and slide. Or no, it was now 4th and 14 because of the sacks.
15, yeah.
He slides. He doesn't even fight to get the first down. No wild pitches, no tosses, no nothing. He runs 3 yards and slides. That is a testament to what this Giants team is.
Like I mentioned, I didn't watch any of this game outside of this last drive by the Giants because I'd been keeping an eye on it. I was getting ready to go to bed. I'm like, the game's still going. Let me see how this is going to end because it was like a minute and change left or whatever.
Sure.
And I saw that ending, and I saw the fumble, and I saw the lineman pick it up and start running with it. Slide, and they're like, nope, can't do that, flag, whatever. Turn the ball. I'm like, wow, so that's how this is going to fucking end? Well, I saw all I needed to with this game.
I mean, I don't shut up, Siri. I understand that, it would have been flagged. But have a little bit of pride and say, oh, no, I'm running this. You can flag me if you want, but I'm at least taking this. No, this mother fricker slides. He slides. And I literally my hair was up like Ace Ventura. I mean, my hair product was still in, and I just was literally tugging on it, and my hair's up in the air. And then, of course, I can't go to bed now because I'm all fired up. And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, I'm waiting for the post-game press conference, and I'm waiting for this Giants blog that I read that gives the winners and losers, and I was waiting to read that because I was trying to wrap my head around if we agreed at all because I like to play that game. Joe Judge comes out and says, the reason why we took all those timeouts is because my headset has not been working all year.
That's not something you worry about in the middle of a game.
Yeah, that's not the time or place.
It's week 8. This, mind you, this is the guy who week 1 threw a challenge flag on a touchdown, and then in week 8 you decide to tell the NFL, guys, hey, my headphone doesn't work.
I just want to point out this was in Kansas City, not New England.
Can somebody check into that? Because that's why I had to use so many timeouts.
Time and place, my guy.
Like-
the middle of a fucking game ain't it.
Yeah, that's a bad
and then
time.
after he says that, he goes, "Yeah, we might have to look into using hand signals."
What?
How?
The Houston Astros would like to make a call with you. Help you out here.
Now, first off, I will attest to I think there was some sort of problems with the headset because
sure.
at one point I saw they ran wide receivers in and out of the formation and they were giving the plays. So old school, like high school football where you're like, hey, wide receiver 2, we're running 36
Sure,
boot,
sure.
Send it in. And they would run it in, wide receiver 1 would come off and, all right, hey, next play, we're going to do 34 dive. Boom, he runs it in. So I saw that, so I was like, all right, maybe this is true. But you don't say that right now.
No.
You don't say that.
And especially if that is the case, that there was an issue with the headsets, you can't tell me that with as many NFL officials as there are on a sideline on any given Sunday, or Monday in this case, that you can't go to them and say, hey, we're having issues with our headphones, and they get a fix for it. That's like telling me you got an issue with an airplane in an airport, pick your airport, and they go, nah, you know what, we're going to let you fix it at the next airport. No, they're going to fix that shit right then and there.
And I mean, at the minimum, okay, defensively, then if you know that the headsets are becoming a problem, you have to go into the game with some sort of communication skills of, all right, hey, base, you know what I mean? Like, fist up in the air, base. Or if you want to blitz, fucking 2 pinkies and you run them back and forth. Like, you got to know at least you're going to be running, because the Giants run a 3-down set, you know what I mean? And they were pulling the 2 safeties in. It's insane to me. And I was a Joe Judge guy. I loved the idea of, a Patriot-style quarterback that had the the coaching tree and pedigree from a Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, 2 of the best to ever do it. And he has come in and not only I don't care what anybody says, he has lost this team.
Oh, yeah.
I'm first and foremost.
I agree with you.
Then you bring in an inept offensive coordinator who still thinks that it's 1998 and you can only need to run slants and in routes and outs, and you don't have any route combination. Like, I watched this video that Kurt Warner posted where he talked about the Washington game specifically, and the Giants run no routes as far as scheming to get guys open. It's all like, you're thinking that your wide receiver can win the matchup.
Yeah.
And the Giants don't have that because their best wide receiver, Kenny Galladay's hurt.
Yeah.
And so you have to fucking scheme, and they have no scheme. And it sucks because Patrick Graham finally came out of whatever sleep he was in, because he finally called a good defensive game. Like, I don't care. You see 17 points on the board, but this is or 20 points on the board, but this is a Kansas City team who could have 100% had the Giants played the way they were playing weeks before, put 100 on them. But no, they put 20 on him because they forced Patrick Mahomes and confused him. And you blow it. You blow it.
The other thing I'll say, too, with the defense is I think this is why it's so important to have guys on that defense that are knowledgeable and very much a team captain type. Because I think the Patriots specifically, there's a couple of guys I can think on that defense that if similar scenario where the headsets go out, they can make some calls on the field and make some play calls on what they're going to do if there's no way to get the message to them. Dante Hightower comes to mind, Devin McCourty for the secondary. Ken, I'm sure there's some you can think of with the Buffalo Bills, but Giants, there just might not be anybody like that.
Unfortunately, Blake Martinez tore his ACL, so there's your quarterback. Tate Crowder got hurt too. He's the backup inside linebacker, so he got hurt, so he's out. So you have Logan Ryan on the field, but, he's a safety.
Yeah.
So, they're really not the ones that call plays. If it's the Baltimore dude, he 100%, he was in a preseason game. The Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, they were talking about on the Monday night broadcast, had COVID. He called the plays in the preseason game.
Yeah.
He's a safety. So, so that's tough. And I'm sitting here and I do it to myself every year. I'm watching the game and they were winning. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to be 3-5. They're going to be 3-5. They've got Dallas again. They've got this, oh shit, they might make a run at this. Like, this division's not over with. I don't give a shit what you Dallas fans say. They are not that good of a team. It is all digs. I don't give a shit. Fuck that offense. I don't care what they do. Dak Prescott is not a good quarterback. Brandon Rush or Cooper Rush showed you that Dak Prescott is not that good of a quarterback. So I don't give a shit what you have to say. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, the other dude, Michael Gallup. You got the tight end, and you've got Zeke. That's it. That's what you guys have.
CeeDee Lamb fined 6 times in 7 games.
I don't give a shit what you have to say. All you Dallas fans hate you. Same with you Philly fans, you snitches. With your bullshit trade for Devontae Smith. I still hate you for it. Bullshit. But now we sit here and we have this Giants team that is inept in a division that they could have taken. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching this game and I'm like, oh my God, the Giants are going to be, they're back in it. They can win this game. They've got Dallas twice. They've got Washington. Like they can come back. They've got Philly. Oh my God, they're going to get right back in this division. They got Oakland next week, winnable game at home, and then they blow it. And I'm like, this team sucks. Fire everybody. Gettleman, Judge, Patrick Graham, I wish you would stay, but you're probably going to get fired because they're going to clean house. And God.
Clean house again.
Again, yep, a la the Knicks. And now you're sitting here at the trade deadline. You've got Evan Ingram, who is a free agent after the year, who you drafted with the first pick of your 2017 draft, and you're going to let him walk away for nothing. For nothing. And you signed Kyle Rudolph in the offseason, and I saw somebody today like, oh, the Giants just haven't done anything to put anything around Daniel Jones. Now, I'm not going to shit on Daniel Jones. I know you think that I'm going to.
I'm not going to flip out.
I'm not going to do it because it's not Daniel Jones' fault. This dude is running for his life back there. He has an inept offensive line. I mean, they are quite possibly just the worst group of offensive line I've ever seen. You had a guy who's going to get cut by the Bengals. You've got Willie Hernandez, who has regressed. You've got Nate Soldier, who is garbage. And then you have Matt Pert, who has no business playing football right now. They're just a bad offensive line. I don't even know who Sakura's playing left guard. I don't even know. Garbage. And he has no time to throw the ball. Like, you can't, he has Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, who can't catch a pass to save his life, Kyle Rudolph, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley, who can't stay not injured, Kadarius Toney, John Ross II. That's like a who's who of weapons. But you can't throw the ball if you can't set your feet.
You could have the greatest wide receiving core of
You could have fucking Jerry Rice on this offense, and you still wouldn't be able to get him open.
You could have Emmitt Smith, Jerry Rice.
Fuck Emmitt Smith. Don't even say his name right now.
Randy Moss.
Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin.
And then they bring that motherfucker on the Manning cast last night, and it's like, what are you doing? I don't want to hear him. He was funny, though.
Tony Gonzalez, just the greatest, positional receivers and running backs.
Headache him.
Moose Johnson.
Oh, fuck, Ken, fuck. Say Leon Lett and see what happens right now.
Leon Lett.
But seriously.
But you could have the greatest receivers in NFL history. It don't mean shit if your quarterback's running going, oh shit, here comes a defensive tackle. Ah shit, here comes a linebacker. Ah shit, here comes a free safety.
The only saving grace from that game last night was that they had the Manning cast. That's the only saving grace. Because if I would have watched the regular broadcast, I probably would have ripped my hair out. Manning cast has been great.
No, Manning cast has been on point.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I learned a lot from that. The T drop. You guys hear that?
Yep.
When you're in the red zone, they drop the linebacker back in the middle of the field for a Tampa 2, and it's called the T drop. I like that.
Yeah, like Marshawn Lynch. 3 shots of Henny.
Oh, he was great. But yeah, I mean, it's so frustrating. You guys have no idea because it's so painful. They're going to end up with the first and second pick in the draft because Chicago's awful. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, they'll end up with the second and third pick because the Detroit's that bad.
Yeah.
God. And they're going to end up with that. And you know what? I was going through a Rolodex of who I would want as a head coach. And the only thing I can think of that would salvage this team is they need a guy who was a head coach before in the NFL, who had a reputation of being able to kind of turn around losers. And the only name that I could pop up that's they're not going to get Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? I was being realistic.
Yeah.
Either they have to go throw the bag at Nick Saban. Throw the bag. I'm talking back up. Yeah, I know. But I'm talking back the truck up. Or Bill O'Brien.
No, Bill O'Brien, the guy that did the trade down in Houston to send Hopkins to Arizona.
Hey, he wouldn't get that here. He wouldn't get to be the general manager and what? No,
hold on. He also doesn't have the pieces to pull off that kind of shit.
Right, exactly. Like, you got to understand, he was in his feelings when he made that trade. He
Wasn't he also president?
He was president of the team.
Yeah.
He wouldn't get that in New York. And when he's just coaching football, you can't say that he's not a good head coach.
I mean, he was all right at Penn State.
He was okay at Penn State, but putting him in a pressure cooker like New York, you are asking for disaster, my friend.
I think he would be fine as long as you don't name him president, he'd be okay. And you can't let him play. You can't have him player personnel. You can't let him have it. And as long as you don't do that, you're okay. Because he took a Houston team that was bad and abysmal, and he turned them around.
He turned him around, but he also tore him apart because he got too emotional down with his actions.
But
you've been bringing him to New York with the media there?
But you don't let him get player personnel direct choices. You get a general manager and the guy from the Patriots who they were going to hire before they got Gettleman, his name's been circling, the director of scouting for the Pats. I don't know his name either, but his name is a hot name right now as far as a NFL or GM. You bring him in. Bill O'Brien is a Belichick-style guy, a la 3-4 defense and schemes, and you pair them together, and you fucking create the Pats 2.0. That's why Romeo Crennel went there. That's why they had Charlie Weiss. That's why they had him there as offensive coordinator. Like, he was a Patriot guy. So you bring that in and you try to recreate that shit. I'm 100%. I'm focused right now. Like, you can hear the conviction in my voice.
I can hear it.
Bill, you don't let him get player personnel decisions.
Hey, what's John Calipari doing these days?
Oh. What is he doing?
Probably
Same thing as Coach K, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm speechless to that.
I know, everybody. I'm sorry. We're probably gonna have to put a break in the middle of this, but it felt good. I've been cooped up.
Oh, I know you've been cooped up. That's why
I brought the fucking thunder.
Well, that's what I said, because we're just going to do the quick recap of just the games and go from there, because we had to let you vent, and I definitely want to have the conversation with the ODPH Society about your idea for who should be the next Giants head coach.
But well, let's not talk about. I mean, I was Rolodexing. But the guy hasn't lost his job yet. We don't want anybody to lose his job.
Right.
I'm just saying.
But except
for Gettleman.
We will have that conversation after the show. But let us round this up and take this NFL segment home. We'll do a quick recap of the games of the week. Thursday, we kicked off. Aaron Rodgers did Aaron Rodgers things, defeating the undefeated Arizona Cardinals.
Madness.
And then he won Halloween. You can't tell me otherwise.
You can't.
No.
And he gave me $10 worth of Bitcoin. So thanks, John Wick, Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. Tennessee won a scrappy game against Indianapolis, which definitely hurt him long term because Derrick Henry looks like he's out the season.
That's a bummer.
Out the season, although there's rumors he might come back later in the season.
Yeah, I saw like
there's a chance
6 to 8 weeks or something like that.
There's a small chance.
Hey, Adrian Peterson back though.
This is true.
It definitely is happening. So
claim him on your waivers.
Crazy to see that, but Tennessee gets the win. The Rams do Ram things, defeating the Houston Texans 38-22.
Man, was I wrong about Matt Stafford? Guys, I thought it was going to be a regression, but my God.
Also, the Rams doing in one season for Matthew Stafford what Detroit didn't do for 11.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention now getting Von Miller.
Yeah.
Listen, draft picks be damned. They're like a 7-year-old who gets Madden for the first time that's like, I just want all the best players, and not realizing like, those draft picks kind of matter come 2 to 3 years from now.
Yes.
But be damned.
No, it's win now or go home. Like, to put it mildly with that.
I mean, McVay's only 34 years old. Chances are he's going to be there a long time, but picks be damned.
Yeah, they're loaded up for right now. They look impressive. Pittsburgh won a scrappy game against Cleveland, who is kind of stuttering right now.
And then traded their defensive end Ingram for a bag of chips.
Yep, they're stutter-stepping a little bit right now, and it's getting a little crazy there with Pittsburgh, too. The fact that they're still doing it with Ben, though, is impressive to see at this age.
Sure. I mean, they can't do anything with him other than hand the ball off right and left and then hope Chase Claypool gets open.
Yeah.
But it works.
it definitely works for them.
Mike Tomlin's the man.
I tell you what.
Ask him about USC. I fucking dare you.
We played the sound clip last week.
Yeah, good. I dare you.
Coach is behind on episodes, but we're definitely getting him caught up on that.
I dare you.
The Eagles defeated Detroit 44-6. Nothing really to talk about there. 49ers won a scrappy game against the Chicago Bears, who are still the Chicago Bears.
Lose, Chicago, lose. I want that pick in the top 10, please.
Carolina defeated, who is Atlanta?
What is Atlanta?
19-13.
Yeah, somehow the Giants beat Carolina, though. Explain that to me. Any given Sunday, right? There you go.
I mean, do we just call it reasons?
Yeah, there you go.
Seattle defeated Jacksonville 31-7. Denver defeated Washington 17-10. The Saints defeated Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 36-27.
Big win because I got a funny story about this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so Ian Book got drafted by the Saints, right? And he ended up making the team. Ian Book, if you don't know, legendary Notre Dame quarterback, all-time winning quarterback in Notre Dame history. So I'm watching the game. It's Halloween. We're getting the kids ready to go trick-or-treating. I see, not Jameis Winston in at quarterback for the Saints, and all of a sudden I'm like, in my head I'm clicking, and I can see the 1. I can't see the second number. So all of a sudden I'm just like, holy shit, Ian Book's in the game, and I start like panicking. I'm like jumping around. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And then he throws, and Aaron turns to me and goes, hey Sean, I need you to like do this, this, and this. I literally did not hear a word that she said because who I thought was Ian Book dropping back to throw a pass. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to throw a pass in the NFL. Completes the pass. And then all of a sudden they go, and the completed pass by Trevor Siemian. Oh, my heart sunk. And Aaron turns to me and goes, did you hear anything that I just said to you? And I go, Aaron, no, I'm sorry. I thought Ian Book was in the game. And I kind of lost my mind. As we have friends and family over like there too, and they're all looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm like, everybody, false alarm. Ian Book's not in the game. We can resume this. What did you need, honey? And then I went to go do the deed.
Fair enough.
Very funny though. Very funny moment in time. I wish
we saw that on tape.
I was losing my mind because nobody thought he was even going to make the team. You know what I mean? Nobody like even thought he was going to get drafted. Everybody thought like maybe a 6th or 7th round pick. So like the fact that he made the team and everything, fantastic. Now obviously Jameis Winston done for the year, ACL. Philip Rivers apparently throwing his name in the hat to be the quarterback for the Saints.
Anything is possible in the NFL.
I wouldn't be. If Adrian Peterson can come back after not playing the last 7 weeks, and be a starting running back, sure. Philip Rivers, come on back too. Hey, LaDainian Tomlinson, what are you up to?
I could see Philip Rivers coming back for that.
Sure. Hey, his high school football season's over.
Pittsburgh needs a kicker. McAfee's name got thrown in there, to which he said, thank you, but no.
Yeah, no, he's enjoying wrestling too much. And closing out the NFL, no Dak, no problem, as the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Minneapolis Vikings 20-6.
Dude,
Cooper Rush. Wow.
If I'm a Vikings fan, I am pissed. Because you want to talk about another head-scratching clock management moments. Mm-hmm. The end of the second quarter, going into halftime, what was Minnesota doing?
Not a lot. And, it came back to haunt them, and that's been their story all season.
And, weird. It's almost like, you don't need a great quarterback when you have 4 Pro Bowl level all NFL players at skill positions.
Yeah.
Weird. You would think like, maybe we need a QB1. Yeah, I don't know. Dak Prescott's, great.
It's a lot of storylines coming out of this week's NFL action. We definitely want to interact with you, so hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. What is your takeaways from this week's NFL action, and what is your take on Coach Duffy's rant? We know he's been having that built up for a while.
I literally was like, I'm going to be level this whole time. And then I got going.
I saw it building. So
you could see the momentum, right? You could see the wheels turning.
That's where we got to let you go. That's why I was like, you know what? We're not going to wait to talk about the Giants. We got to just let them go vent.
I was really trying not to. And the shit got rolling.
I tell you, welcome back to the show, Coach.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
So like we said,
it's fun.
We're going to take a quick break. Hit us up on that hashtag. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna go.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and we have a lot to talk about in the land of the UFC.
Yeah, we do.
Big event happened this past week. Big event coming this week.
Yeah, I'm back. All right, I have to cool down. Okay.
Coach finally cooled down.
Yep,
He had to
yep.
walk out. I mean, it's like riding a bike. It picks up back again.
Yeah, you know, I had to take a step outside. We took a little bit longer of a break than I wanted to, but I'm here. All right, let's go.
So this past week we had UFC 267, a main event card on ESPN Plus, though.
Yeah.
Definitely a free card. Definitely a lot of action coming from Abu Dhabi this past week.
Say the 2 p.m. start time was nice.
Yes, it was.
Was perfect because the 12 p.m. college football games were stinkers.
Yes.
So that filled that void very nicely up until the 7:30 kickoff for the Notre Dame and Ohio State games.
So, Pat, you got the results. Let's go through the main card, shall we?
Yeah, so the first fight you had on the main card was in the light heavyweight division where you had Enclave defeat Volkan Ozdemir by unanimous decision.
Magdav, he looked great. I mean,
Yeah.
This is pretty much straightforward. It's going to be his time very soon in that division.
yeah.
Volkan did Volkan things, but
Yeah,
not enough.
he's running away with this division.
Yeah, I'll say it scores 30-27, 30-27, 29-28, so it tells you all you need to know.
And you know what you're going to get with him. You know, like you know what kind of fight you're going to get.
Yeah, Magdav, I mean, he got a nice cut over Volkan's eye, though. Like, that thing
Yeah.
started looking nasty. I was almost wondering if they're going to have a stoppage
Right.
at one point, but no, kudos to him, and on forward we go. Not much to really recap in that one.
Next up was the matchup in the welterweight division, probably one of the most anticipated fights on the card because it featured the return of Kazmat Chimaev taking on Li Jingliang. And you had Chimaev win by a rear naked choke submission in the first round, 3 minutes and 16 seconds in, continuing his streak of he never fights past early in the second round.
What was the stat, too, they were giving? Like, in the last, 9 fights, somebody hasn't landed a strike on him?
That's absurd.
It's something stupid like that.
It's something in 9 rounds, I don't think.
Yeah, he literally, at one point, he picked the dude up,
Yeah.
carried him over to Dana, and was basically like, "Are you not entertained?" And slammed him on the ground. And from there on,
Look at
it
this.
was
Is this joking?
yeah, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Impressive.
impressive. And like I mentioned, the longest he's ever been in a fight in his professional career was back on October 4th of 2019 for another federation where he won in 1 minute and 15 seconds into the second round. That is the longest fight of his professional career.
And credit to Lee there. I mean, he fought as hard as he could, as long as he could once he got his back. Eventually choking him out to the point where he couldn't even tap anymore.
So like I said, all this man does is win. He's now 10-0. 6 wins by knockout, 4 by submission, none by decision.
And then called out the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called out the world, literally. Watch that post-fight presser. That was something to be held.
It is impressive to see what he's doing, and for the UFC, I understand we talk about hype trains a lot. Chimaev is backing it up.
Dude,
It's one of the rare instances.
Yeah.
Dude, I literally, when he picked him up and carried him, I was like, because, I mean, I've watched Chimaev before. I wasn't really impressed. I mean, I know, obviously, flawless victories or whatever, but it's like, once you get guys on the ground, it's like, meh,
yeah.
But the way that he executed, the way that he got him to the ground, the way that he controlled him patiently, the kind of shots that he was landing, as he was landing them, it was all calculated.
Well, and if you can catch the highlights of this fight, definitely, because I didn't watch the fights live. I was getting ready for a date day with my girlfriend.
Ooh.
But I heard about the results of this, and I looked up the end finish highlights, and he had that rear naked choke. But the one before he finished him, he already had that deep. And then Jingliang got out, and then he hooked him in deeper. And I'm like, oh, this guy's fucked.
Yeah,
like,
he came with the right arm and then
Uh-huh.
switched to the left.
And he got to the left, and it was like, oh my God, you're in deep. And I'm like, oh, this guy's fucked. Like, he ain't going to win this.
Yeah.
And especially for the amount of time he was off, and I know he was very sick at one point, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a nasty. I mean, I remember the post on Instagram. Like, he was literally showing his sink where he was like spitting blood into.
Yeah,
like a bad battle with COVID.
Yeah, to see him come back like this was just utterly impressive at this high level. The rumor is, and I want to stress rumor, they are talking about Chimaev versus Nate Diaz.
I saw that today.
I think that's the fight Dana wants to make.
I think that's a fight you should make.
I think that's a fight that you have to make.
Yeah, absolutely, because if Chimaev is the next guy, and let's face it, he's got that it factor right now. If he goes in there and fights Nate Diaz, and if Nate is motivated, I mean, that's the question about Nate is if he's game for a fight, he's going to scrap. He's going to be in it. I want to see a better performance than he had against Leon Edwards.
Yes.
Well, I thought he was screwing around too much.
I mean, to be fair, obviously, if anybody's going to be able to, outlast him or, create a scrap, make it a 50-50 fight. Once it gets to the ground, a guy who's not going to give up or anything, and who should be able to land a punch on him, it would be Nate Diaz.
Yeah. So that's a no-brainer. Dana has to make that fight. And like I said, if it's Nate's last in the UFC, what a way to go out, because either it's win-win for him. He's going to get paid regardless.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could headline a UFC ESPN Plus card.
Oh, facts.
Oh, yeah.
Or co-main. Co-main a pay-per-view.
Or you could co-main a pay-per-view with that fight, and it would draw.
Oh,
100%. I mean, alone, like the Nate Diaz, obviously the hype that he has.
Oh, yeah.
But like you put in this kind of level of fighting, it's going to draw, especially with how Chimaev's post-fight presser was.
He's getting that buzz.
Yeah, he's getting buzz.
He's getting that buzz, and he's looking damn impressive. So this is a no-brainer to make.
Yep.
Onward and upward for him.
Next up, it was in the heavyweight division where you had Alexander Volkov defeat Marcin Tybura by unanimous decision.
This was kind of one that I was like,
Yeah.
nap time.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with the heavyweights is it's either knockout or
Yeah, I mean,
or snooze fest.
it's either electric or it's this.
Well, that's the problem you have is the skill level is very spaced
Sure.
between fighters. And it's not to say you don't have elite fighters in that division, but from a well-rounded fighter to one that can just get in there and throw hands and strikes
Yep.
to wrestling, you need to have that total package to really become elite. Volkov is on that cusp, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's got the tools, but you haven't seen that wow factor in him.
Right.
And Tybura he can scrap. He'll stay in there with everybody you throw against him. He'll definitely be game to fight. But at the end of the day, I mean, you saw the skill level variance right here.
Right.
So, I mean, nothing really too shocking about this one. I think this is probably as close to a lock as we could make during this
Sure,
card.
yeah.
So, I'll have to see where Volkov lands next. I don't know in that heavyweight division. It's anybody's guess right now.
Yeah. Next up was in the lightweight division where you had Islam Makhachev defeat Dan Hooker via Kimura submission.
Yeah.
All I could say is this. Wow.
As a man once said, damn.
The skill level that Islam has is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the fact that he just tore through Dan Hooker like nobody's business.
2 minutes and 25 seconds in the first round.
I mean, this just goes to show about how much on a different level Islam is on compared to everybody else right now that's not in the top 3 of the lightweight division.
Dan Hooker, 31 years old, has 30 professional matches.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost like he went in and was like, I'm going to do this to you. Like, I'm going to I'm looking for the Kimura. Mm-hmm. That's how efficient and fluid he was at getting there. I mean, I think Dan kind of led him into it too, which didn't help anything.
Yeah.
But, it's like he literally went in and was, I'm going to submit you, and I think I want to use a Kimura today.
Here's a nutty thing, too, with Islam. He's not only on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fight win streak. He's on a 3-fight submission streak.
Yeah.
Won this fight by Kimura submission. Won his last fight via rear naked choke. And then the fight before that was an arm triangle choke. Yo.
He's that skilled. I don't understand why he hasn't been more put in the top contender fight list.
Yeah.
For the number 1 contendership, I guess I should say, clean it up.
Well, I mean, he's been fighting in the UFC. His first fight in the UFC was in May of 2015. And I'm just looking at the record of the guys he's fought. None of them are exactly, up until, Dan Hooker here, none of them are exactly that sexy.
Right, but the fact that he ran through Hooker as much as he did, I think you now have to give him somebody in that top 2. Regardless, I don't care where the ranking is with him. You need to bump him up there. In fact, I'll even go out and say he should fight the loser of Chandler Gaethje next.
All right.
That's my call. I don't think you can really bump him necessarily to a title fight from this one, but he's damn near that number 1 contendership match.
Yeah, I mean, they've been real slow plotting.
Yeah.
Islam here. I mean, it's been, number 10, number 11, number 8, and now slowly a guy in the top 5. It's like, now's the time to, put up or shut up with him as far as what he's going to be able to do in this division.
I mean, they're wins and they're definitive wins. In 22 professional matches, he has a record of 21-1. 3 wins by knockout, 10 by submission, 8 by decision. And in the stretch he's been in the UFC, the only one loss in his career is his second fight in the UFC. Their wins, they're definitive wins, but it clearly Dana and the powers that be don't think any of them are sexy because he's only got one fight of the night honor.
Well, I mean, the problem is in that one fight that he had, I can't remember the pay-per-view. I mean, he was literally just toying with the guy, but the problem is he toyed with him too much and he made the fight boring. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in control, and what was Khabib's problem? It was, I'm going to lay on you, I'm going to tire you out, and then if I can submit you, I'm going to submit you.
So and George St. Pierre.
Yeah, and the problem is that, if you're not a UFC aficionado, that shit is boring.
Yep.
And, I mean, this fight, thank God it ended in the first round. Could you imagine 3 more rounds of just Islam laying on him?
No.
At least Chimanev, beats the shit. He's efficient in there. You know what I mean? Like, he's putting on a show. He's carrying the guy over to Dana. What do you want me to do here? You know what I mean? Like, at least he's putting on a show. Islam, it's just he's from Khabib's camp, and you can tell because he's cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, he's not going to go out there and make flashy interviews. He's not going to drop, pipe bomb, microphone, CM Punk.
He's not going to pick somebody up and German suplex them and then choke them out. It's going to be, I'm going to single leg you. I'm going to get you on the ground. I'm going to smother you. And then I'm going to wait for you to give me something, and then I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
And that's, a little boring for the crowd that's like, I want something big to happen.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's going to be something that I think if he goes up against somebody like a Chandler or Gaethje next, I could see that happening.
Sure.
Because if he really shuts them down, and both those guys have really great grappling, even like Gaethje, even though he doesn't do it that much,
right?
I think that'll be a true test for him. And then if he beats them, that's 11 fights.
I mean, the Chandler fight to me is the sexiest because, I mean, that dude is a world-class wrestler.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the fact that his hands have gotten better. That's the fight that I would probably want to see regardless of win or loss.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that happening too. Like anywhere now, he's got to be in that top 2 conversation about who he's going to fight. It's got to happen. Next up, though, Pad.
This was the co-main event in the bantamweight division between Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen, and you had Yan emerge victorious by unanimous decision.
I was pulling for Sandhagen so bad. Now, I mean, no disrespect to Yan. I know, he is a very good fighter and a world-class fighter, but Sandhagen was just out there scrapping, and he put it all on the line. Mm-hmm. He left everything that he could in that octagon, and, you end up just finding yourself pulling for that, whether U.S. fighter or not, you know what I mean? And he came up short.
Pad, your thoughts on this?
Definitely was hoping to see Sandhagen maybe pull it off a little bit, but it didn't go that way, so them's the breaks, Hopefully he bounces back from it.
I gotta say, I was with you as well. I thought Sandhagen, I was pulling for him, just because I thought he should have been here for a title fight sooner than later,
right? And
just to see, you talk about leaving it all in the octagon. There's nothing more he could have done, but he's just not on that level as Peter Yan.
You could tell. Not only was he just getting, I don't want to say outclassed, but the cardio level, because Sandhagen, especially in those last, the 4th and 5th, especially the third, you could tell, at least the 5th, he came back with a little bit more because the adrenaline kicked in a little bit more. But I mean, that 3rd and 4th round, you could there was a punch that he threw where he literally was just ugh.
Yeah.
He was just throwing it just to land something to get a strike on him.
Yeah, it's tough because, like I say, I hate saying he was gassed, but he was in there, but Yan is just on a different level.
Yeah, I mean, Yan was dissecting, timing, boom, 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 get out, and Sandhagen was chasing him around the octagon, just got tired.
Yeah, so, I mean, Sandhagen will come back. I guarantee you they're going to run this back in about a year or so. Just because Sandhagen's that good, I just think he needs to pull that off.
Well, I mean, it helps, too, that, the interim title will probably be the main title for the next umpteen trillion years.
Well, I thought it was
boom, 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 boom.
It was very funny what Peter Yan said. He goes, I'm the real champion. The interim one can come fight me when he's ready.
Yeah.
Because he's I'm not afraid of that coward.
Dude,
paraphrase.
I loved his, I mean, listen, the knee was bullshit. It was illegal. It is what it is. We talked about it. I probably would have done the same shit if I was what's-his-face.
Peter Yan?
No, the other.
Al Sterling.
Sterling. But, I mean, in the open workouts that they had on Abu Dhabi, he did the knee to end his open fight or open workout, and I laughed hysterically.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, Yan knows what...
He's a showman. Yeah.
I think everybody knows that Yan was winning that fight regardless. Sure. And listen, it doesn't matter who's got the belt. We all know Yan's the champion.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's fact.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Sterling. I mean, honestly, you're gonna end up probably having to see Dana do what he doesn't like to necessarily do, which is calling out fighters for not fighting.
Well, I gotta say, because remember we said after the fight, after the neck injury, he was out partying.
Yeah.
So
no, you're gonna see, because I guarantee you that there's gonna be a date that Dana has in mind for this Sterling Jan fight, and I guarantee you, Sterling's not gonna put up.
He's gonna have to,
and Jan's gonna get public, and then you're gonna see Dana get public.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what's got to happen to make if you're gonna do this fight, that's what you need to do, because you're gonna have to get Sterling back in there regardless, and either you take the belt from him, just merge it with Jan. You don't need you don't need Jan to fight somebody for that belt. I mean, the logical thing is, put Jan against Sterling too. You have to run that back at some point.
Right.
But if Sterling's not going to do this for whatever reason, because, perception is reality, and this is where we're at with him.
No, I mean, you have to call it that way.
Yeah.
You don't want to. I don't want to sit here. I mean, Sterling would beat the shit out of me. I don't want to sit here and say, a little scurred, but, you could tell he's ducking.
Call a spade a spade.
I mean,
it's period. That's why there's an interim title right now. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I got neck surgery. I got this. My camp's not ready. Blah blah. You're just hearing.
Oh, you know what? I got a nagging Charlie horse that won't go away.
Yeah, you just hear these injury things. At least Ngannou's being real. Pay me or don't expect to see me. You know what I mean? Sterling's the one who's I got something going on.
Yeah, but like I said, you can't say that one thing and then you're out doing something else. Like
right.
I said,
but that's the thing. That's why I'm saying. At least Ngannou's pay me or I'm not fighting. Period. I'm not having to take a loan out for my camp.
His is a different story completely. That's to say, it's apples and oranges. But with Sterling, he's going to have to come back in the cage at some point, and Jan is going to wait for him. And I guarantee you this: Jan will wait. You're going to see that division either get held up or they're going to make that fight right around, I would imagine, Super Bowl weekend.
Wow, okay.
I'm going to say you're going to see that fight January, probably February, though. I'll put a safe bet.
I was honestly thinking the UFC, their big weekend in July.
I don't think Dana's going to wait that long. I think Dana's going to say, you got to fight this weekend or else.
Yeah.
I fully see that happen. It'll be a co-main with somebody.
Because, Jan took no damage, so you got to think that he's good to go.
Yeah, and I think Jan wouldn't care if he wasn't cleared or not. I think he's going to take that fight because he's ready to go for that one. And then we get to the main event of 267.
Yeah, so this was for the light heavyweight championship where you had Jan Blachowicz defending it against Glover Teixeira. And you have Glover Teixeira defeat Jan Blachowicz with a rear naked choke submission to become your new light heavyweight UFC champion.
So mad funny story. We're watching the embedded vlogs, as it's well documented that I enjoy watching. Mm-hmm. And Aaron is in the room with me watching it. And one of the scenes, Blachowicz had his son on his lap by the pool. And Aaron turns and goes, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Jan Blachowicz. He's the light heavyweight champion." And she's like, "Oh, he brought his kid to Abu Dhabi with him?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, he's going to lose." And I'm like, "How do you say it? What?" She goes, "You can't bring your kid to the camp like that. It's a complete distraction. He's definitely going to lose." Mm-hmm. And I go, "I don't know. Jan's different." Flash forward to Saturday and the fight, and he didn't look the same. This
wild.
Was not the same Jan Blachowicz that we had fought the last 3 fights, especially since the Reyes fight, where he kicked him into a wounded duck, and you saw he looked timid. He looked very lethargic. He didn't look like his energetic self, and you could tell that there was a timidness in his fight that Glover took advantage of. And as soon as he got him on his back, did Jan even try?
No, I
didn't. From my perspective, it didn't look like it.
No, in my opinion, Jan took Glover too lightly. Obviously, being 42, 43 years old now.
Yeah,
42, just turned 42.
Okay, Teixeira, who was one of the most feared fighters in his prime.
Sure,
that people were ducking him in the UFC.
That was fucking. They made that point very clear in the broadcast. They brought that up. Umpteen trillion times about oh, his heyday. Dana White wanted him younger, yada, yada. You know, like, they brought it up a million times.
Yeah, because he was that feared. And then unfortunately for him, and when he ran against John Jones, he came up on the losing end.
Sure.
Happens. To see him scrap and come back, this is like when Bisping won the belt. And
Right.
This is when, you have those legendary runs back.
Yeah.
But to do it at this age, and he literally outclassed Blachowicz from bell to bell. And to see the grappling, which, I mean, let's face it, that's how Blachowicz beat Adesanya, albeit though Adesanya didn't put on any weight for their fight.
Right.
But that's a whole different story.
Yeah, it's his choice.
But Glover fought a very gritty, unflashy fight.
Yeah.
And he went to wrestling, which I think threw Blachowicz off completely.
I would hope not, because
I would hope not either. But
all fight can't, or not fight can't, but all that during the prelim stuff, or the pre-fight jitter stuff, DC was like, look for him to wrestle.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wrestled. And they kept bringing that up. So it was like, I would hope that Blachowicz would have been like, all right, I'm ready to take this to the ground, because, I mean, Blachowicz knows how to wrestle too. So
he should have, but you know what? I think Glover got him by surprise, and I don't think he knew how to react. And at that point, too, I think when he went for that second rear naked choke, he popped out Blachowicz's jaw.
I think something happened.
Because he tapped immediately.
He tapped quick.
Yeah, that's what I said. It wasn't like a Pat Barry when he got submitted by Krokoff and just didn't even try defending. This is Blachowicz. I could see, I thought I saw something pop. Now, I haven't heard any confirmation.
No, and I couldn't tell. He said something in the post-fighter, because DC asked him. He's like, was that around your neck, or was it around your jaw? And it just, it was bothering you. And he said something in the I don't know, dialect, or just his accent kicked in too much, and I couldn't make out what he said. So I don't know. But like I said, you saw with Conor, you bring your kids around your camp, and you just don't have the same violence, because your kids bring fucking joy to you. You know what I mean? I don't care what any fighter says, I'm doing it for my kids, I'm doing it for my family. But when you bring, Poirier didn't bring his wife around his camp in that last Conor fight.
No.
And you saw an angry, vicious dude, Conor always has his kids around. And I'm not fucking judging them, because I have 5 kids. I'd probably be the same way. Yeah. But it's just like in Rocky. You know what I mean? When Rocky had his kids before the Mr. T fight, dancing, having fun, with my kid. But when Clubber Lang kicked the shit out of him, what did he do? Right back to the dungeon and working hard.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do. And that's what, Teixeira had. And that's what Blachowicz needs to get back to.
Yeah, so
it's just something to it. Honest to God, I know it's probably not the ultimate reason, but when she said that, it struck a chord. Yeah, it was like, damn, the only one who's not and who can do that is Nunez.
Yeah, Nunez.
But she's a fucking monster.
Yeah, Nunez is on a whole different level than everybody else. That goes without question.
There's nothing. Her hurting people brings her joy just as much as her kid does.
Yeah. So it's a wild night of fights. I mean, for Glover, I think Jiri Prochazka is next in line for him.
And that dude scares the shit out of me.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's, unfortunately for Glover at this age, listen, if he can pull it off, I'm going to tip all the hats to him I can get my hands on.
There is something about a dude who is as zen and peaceful as he is that inflicts that much damage in an octagon that way, and you're like, yo, that shit's scary.
Yeah. It's almost Usman-like.
Yeah. Yeah, old Usman, not this new version, the old Usman.
Yeah, like when he used to be dancing, coming to the cage, and all of a sudden you get and he flip that switch and be ready to kill everybody.
Yeah, because this dude comes out and he's got the man bun, he's doing the the hands together and the prayer hands, and then he just comes out and you're like, oh shit, like that spinning elbow that he hit in his fight before.
That's why I say Jiri. I think it's going to be one and done for Glover. There's no shame in it.
I can't wait. I mean, I will watch that fight because it's going to be a show.
Yeah, they're going to put on a hell of a performance. And overall, I mean, 267 was a great night, but we got to start talking about UFC 268.
Yeah,
coming up this Saturday live from Madison Square Garden, home of the Knicks and the Rangers. Some of the best teams in professional sports. So, Pad, why don't we talk about that main card and let's go over.
So your first fight in the main event is in the bantamweight division between Frankie Edgar and Marlon Vera. Frankie Edgar in 34 professional matches has a record of 24-9. Marlon Vera in 25 professional matches has a record of 17-7 and 1 draw.
Coach?
I mean, this is essentially because it's in the Garden, and you have to have Frankie Edgar on in the Garden.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know that originally what's-his-face was They were trying to get the Sean kid on this fight, right? On this card?
Yeah, they were trying to get another fighter. I'm blanking on the name too.
Shane Strickland.
No, the tattooed dude, the 69 dude.
Oh, Sugar
Shane.
O'Malley.
Yeah, O'Malley. They were trying to get him and Edgar for this card, but obviously settled for Vera. So, I mean, it's Edgar in the Garden, so it is what it is.
Yeah, this one, I love Frankie.
Sure.
I do.
And you love him in the Garden.
I love him in the Garden.
Yeah.
I can't.
Bing bong.
I don't want to go against him.
Right.
But
You can't.
But yeah,
But Father Time.
Father Time and the wars he's gone through in the
Sure.
octagon. I think it's Vera all day, but you know what? I would have loved to see O'Malley and
God,
Frankie in the Garden.
Oh my God, the age difference.
Yeah.
Frankie Edgar is 40 years old, just turned 40 years old a couple weeks ago. Marlon Vera is 28 years old. Turns 29 in a month.
Yeah, that's why I say
Hey.
Vera's got a chip on his shoulder too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be I'm hoping for Frankie pull off the miracle upset, but ain't looking pretty.
No. Next up in the featherweight division, you have a matchup between Shane Burgos and Billy Quantillo. Burgos has a record in 16 matches, has a record of 13-3. Billy Burgos in 19 professional matches has a record of 16-3.
Ken, tell me what I want to think for this fight.
What you want to think about this one is Burgos can definitely throw in there with the best of them. He's always going to be one of those fighters that when you see his name on the card, it's not going to scream, and flashing lights at you. But he gets in there. He quietly scraps with everybody. Mm-hmm. He will come there ready to win. Tranquillo, or Quarantillo, rather, is another one that kind of flies under the radar a little bit. So this one, I think, is just going to be a solid knock 'em,
Rock 'em, sock 'em robots?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's going to be, because I always hate saying, like, standard smash and bash.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you're going to get here.
That's fun, though.
That's
fun.
Like, it'll be a fun fight, but it's not going to be one you're going to... Like, I granted, could we see a crazy knockout happen here? Absolutely.
Well, two Rams button heads. Eventually, somebody's got to go down.
Yeah, I do like Quarantillo here, though, a little better.
Okay.
So I will go with him, but I think this is going to be one of those decisions that is going to be split.
Same.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be split, but I think it's going to go Billy's way there, just because I'm looking at Shane's record here. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Josh Emmett by unanimous decision, and then getting knocked out by Edson Barbosa back in May.
Yeah, so a lot of different ways that can go.
Next up in the lightweight division, you have a matchup between Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. Gaethje in 25 professional matches has a record of 22-3. Michael Chandler in 28 professional matches has a record of 22-6.
I chose violence in this.
Okay. Yeah. I have an unpopular opinion.
Uh-huh.
I think Chandler has to win this fight. I think that for his reputation, how he came in, especially his first fight performance, Dana stuck his neck on the line by giving him the title fight. Obviously, Poirier kind of made his decision, so it kind of made it, like Chandler essentially had to step in and take the fight. But at the same time, he came in with accolades. And now, 2 straight losses in big fight cards. Tough look.
I definitely think Chandler's got a little bit more to prove, just because Gaethje, the repertoire and the records there. His last fight was a loss to Khabib back in October of last year, so he hasn't fought in a calendar year. But he has defeated the likes of Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, Edson Barbosa, James Vick, just to name a few. And then on the flip side, you've got Michael Chandler, like you mentioned, came in like a ball of fire.
Quoting Ric Flair all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Moonsaults off the cage.
Came in 2-fight win streak, and then he came in with that lightweight championship matchup, and then he lost. So I think Chandler's got a little bit more to prove, but I think he's got that chip on his shoulder, and I think he might be able to pull it off.
I'm actually going to say Gaethje's got more to prove.
Oh.
But I'll explain that, though.
Okay.
Gaethje, like you touched on, Pat, has not fought in a calendar year. Mm-hmm. His last fight was against Khabib.
Khabib on October 24th of 2020.
Khabib's currently last fight ever.
Yep.
Gaethje has been patiently waiting.
For a track to explode on?
Exactly. We've all been waiting to see him fight the Conor McGregors. We've been waiting to see get a title shot. We've been waiting for him for so long. And the only thing he's been doing is training.
Sure.
With the likes of Kamaru Usman.
Oh,
and the likes
in that
of,
camp, huh?
Yeah, and Francis Ngannou. So,
Elevate or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he's just been sitting back and waiting. And for a guy that, let's face it, If it's been more than 15 minutes, the public might have forgotten about you. Of course, diehard MMA fans, we don't forget about guys like Gaethje. He needs to come back, and he needs to remind people why he should be in that title talk.
Okay.
Chandler came in from Bellator, obviously, and like you touched on, 1-1 in his UFC, got put in that title match, didn't come out of his way because everybody slept on Charles Oliveira. Which
Plus he got caught.
Yeah, he got caught out there, which, I mean, that happens. But for Chandler, if he wants to stay relevant, he's got to win this one.
That's what I'm saying.
But if he loses this one, I don't think it's that bad per se. But I think for Gaethje, for being off this long and not getting fights for whatever reason, I think he's got more to prove to people that he should still be in that talk.
I can understand that, especially when you look at the guys he's training with, when you mention, Overeem and everybody else, that, like, you start training with those guys, you got to get a little bit of a rub off of them, of, like, improve your game a little bit. And if you go to those lengths and train with some of those folks and you can come out and lose, it's not exactly the best look.
No.
So, I mean, I guess I'll see what you say. And among the fans, I think that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, the fans might see it that way. But, I mean, I'm trying to hop in Dana's shoes right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and you know how Dana views anybody else who wasn't up through the UFC as far as making a name.
Oh, sure.
So, for Chandler to lose, like, because Gaethje's earned his respect. You know what I mean? Like, Dana will forever take care of him. He's in the right camp, so he'll always get, run and stuff. Like, it's never like he's going to freeze him out. Chandler loses this fight to Gaethje in whatever fashion, that's not going to be a good look in Dana's eyes.
It won't.
And the powers that be.
But I think what happens is the loser of this is getting Machev. Like,
I mean, that's not necessarily a good thing either, because you're getting fed to the wolves.
That's what I said. So, like, I think that Dana will make a point to make that fight happen immediately after for Chandler if he loses.
And Chandler loses that, he's probably out.
See,
I mean, I'm just saying, like, maybe.
I will say this: you won't see him near the title picture if he loses the title fight, Gaethje, and Machev, if that's the dominoes that fall.
Right.
He'd have to go on one heck of a win streak and get back up there. It would be tough. Not unheard of, but tough.
Sure.
But I think this is where Dana would say, okay, the loser is going to go fall off the card. The winner might get back to that title picture relatively soon. It just depends on who wins that title fight. Because I don't know if necessarily they would run back Chandler Oliveira that quick.
Sure.
Well, I think the winner probably then has to wait for, whoever wins. So what I mean by this is, like, if Chimaev, like, if he beats Chandler, then Chimaev and Chandler fight and Chimaev wins.
You mean Islam?
Islam, sorry. I think Islam then takes on Gaethje.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's the next ring on the Islam ladder that he has to climb to then get to Oliveira. Like, I don't think they'll go Gaethje, then back to Oliveira, even if he wins or loses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they'll give Gaethje another title fight within, like, a 2-year span when Islam is right there.
Right.
I think they'll give him time, say, hey, this is where you're going, this is your, thing, and you've got Islam next. And then we'll, settle the championship after that.
Yeah, I mean, this fight, though, is going to kick off like a domino effect for the rest of the division.
Yeah, I mean, what an interesting division.
It's always the deepest, always.
Well, I mean, there was a time when light heavyweight meant something, but
no, it would have meant something. But if you even look from the start of the UFC to now, that division has always been the deepest.
Yeah.
It might not have been the flashiest, depending on who was champion, but it's always been the deepest.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just there's 6 guys right now, or 5 guys really. I mean, that are all there, and you still got the Connors, you still got the Diaz's, so you still got names that are right around. That top 10 that are all hovering.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild scenario, but if you're looking at, like, the top 6 are still very relevant, and even the latter half of the top 10 is still names.
Right.
It just depends on this transition, but this is where somebody steps up and always makes a breakout, and this could be one of those fights that you see Gaethje finally get to that title picture again, or you see Chandler make a very strong case to get back there, too. I mean, but this one, who you got, though?
I mean, I'm pulling for Chandler.
Mm-hmm. Pat?
I'm going to say Chandler.
I'm going to say Gaethje. But I'm going to say...
Well, I mean, you asked who we want to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Gaethje will win.
No, but that's why... like I said, I'm happy with either guy. I don't have a personal pick on this.
Yeah.
But I'm going stylistically. I think Gaethje's been sitting there patiently waiting, and all he's been doing is training.
Sure.
and he's getting pissed. He's getting looked over. I think he's going to come in with a big chip on his shoulder, and not saying he's going to make short work of this, but I don't think this is going to be going to decision.
Well, I think you also, for him, he probably wants to go back in to that camp, into that locker room and, bring Usman up. Like that's a lot of pressure riding on him to bring that camp up.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens. That's going to be my fight of the night, though, right there. But we still got 2 great main events, so...
Yeah, so your co-main event is for the Women's Strawweight Championship with Thug Rose. Namajunas defending her belt against Zhang Weili. Thug Rose in 14 professional matches has a record of 10-4. Zhang Weili in 23 professional matches has a record of 21-2. And yes, folks, they are running this back. These two did fight not that long ago, back in April, where you had Thug Rose knock out Zhang Weili with a head kick, and the head kick heard around the world to win said championship. So this should be real interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I like Thug here. I just don't think it's going to be in the same fashion. I think, and they've talked about and they've highlighted it in the packages that they've ran promoting this, that when she fought the first time, Zhang Weili, when she had won the title, she didn't have that luster. She didn't have that, that feeling. She's grown. She's learned from it. Just like we talked earlier in the show about young champions or young teams having to learn to get over that hump. She did, and I think she's going to be on a run right now towards, multiple defenses.
I think Zhang's definitely learned from the last fight. She certainly had some time to look at the tape and learn from it.
That one kick?
Yeah, that one kick. 1 minute and 18 seconds into the first round. I think she's learned from it. I think she's kind of grown from it, and I think she'll be able to pull off the fight and win.
I'm going to be selfish here.
All right.
I want to see Thug Rose win, not just because I'm a fan, but I want to see Zhang actually leave the strawweight division and go to flyweight.
Ooh.
Because what do you want? What do you want with her to do there?
Her versus Shevchenko.
Okay.
I think that has got a lot of win-win around it. I think she could definitely pull it off and give Shevchenko a real challenge at that 150 or the 125 ranks. I think Thug Rose, if she comes in fully motivated, she's a very polarizing fighter. Like when she's locked in, she's damn near scary.
She's engaged, yeah.
Yeah. But if she kind of comes in and depending on the first round, if it's going her way or not, she gets out of her game a lot.
That's fair.
I mean, you saw that with Jessica Andrade too. Like she was having real problems with Andrade's grappling, and then she just got caught with a slam and got knocked out. But she was winning that fight, but still the timing wasn't there as much. Right. So this one, I see going a lot of the similar ways, but I'm saying I think Rose will pull this off. I think this could be a decision. This isn't going to be a finish. But I could see Rose pulling this off, and I say if Zhang loses, 125 is where I want to see her go.
Well, yeah, if she loses, she's not getting another title fight.
Yeah, which I'm like, no, that's perfectly fine.
And in case you're curious, Zhang Weili has fought at the strawweight division, or the weight class. She fought there for a time back in like 2016 to 2017, and for another federation. So she does have experience going to that weight class.
Yeah, I think that's more blockbuster than anybody is really given respect to.
In fact, she even won a championship at the strawweight level.
I mean, this is a well-known big fight feel, and if you lose, then the next thing that makes sense is go up a weight class. Yeah, and you're not going to be able to hang around and wait for the next champion because I don't think there's going to be one for a long time. If Thug wins this fight, I really see her going on a run.
Oh, I do too. Like, I mean, I'm just trying to even look at the rest of the strawweight division. I mean, after Zhang, you got Carla Esparza, Marina Rodriguez, Yan, Mackenzie Dern, and Nina Nunez, and Claudia Gadea. I mean, like, you have that whole division is literally going up the ranks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild to see. But this goes to show, I mean, the strawweight division of the women's fighting weight class is no joke.
No.
It's very entertaining. It's very fun to watch. And that's why I say Rose could go on a definite run if she beats Zhang. And like I said, for Zhang, it makes so much more sense to me to have her go fight at 125.
Yeah,
because I think that should be a monster up there.
Maybe.
Yeah. But then we get to the main event.
Yep, this is in the welterweight division for the championship where you've got Kamaru Usman defending his belt against Colby Covington. Usman in 20 professional matches has a record of 19-1. The one loss coming way back when for another federation on May 24th of 2013. And then you've got Colby Covington in 18 professional matches and has a record of 16-2.
I am devastated that I'm not going to be able to watch this because I've got fucking stupid responsibilities. Life, and I got a tournament the next day on Sunday, but this is a fight that I am so excited for. I cannot wait for Usman to absolutely run through Colby Covington and dislocate his jaw permanently.
Yeah, did you see Colby's trying to say now that Usman didn't dislocate his jaw the last time?
Yeah.
Colby just needs to shut up.
I mean, at this point, it's not even, like the character or whatever. Like if you're trying to be the heel or get your, get Pub out there, more power to you. But at this point, it's X-Pac heat. It's go away heat.
Yeah.
It's enough is enough. You don't have the credibility enough to be that kind of style. You're not Conor, as far as your street cred and shit. So you can't act like that. You know what I mean? Like at least Conor did something when he was at his peak. And now you kind of see, I mean, we talked about in our text, even me as a Conor fan, like, damn, dude, you got to quiet down a little bit because you just don't have it like you used to. And that's what Colby is right now. Had Colby won that fight, you could talk all the shit you want, but you lost and you haven't done shit since.
The character and the gimmick of Colby Covington notwithstanding, I understand, pumping your own stock up and trying to make yourself seem
You
seem
have
better.
to.
You have to. It's a part of the game. But you are giving a gentleman motivation when he needs none. I'm going to read through, I'm not going to go super in depth, I'm going to read through his professional record here. He made his professional professional debut for a federation on November 30th of 2012. Fought a gentleman by the name of David Glover. Can't tell you much more about him because he doesn't have a Wikipedia page. But he knocked...
He's an actor now, isn't he?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He knocked his ass out. Okay. Then he came to his next fight. He got a rear naked choke submitted. Okay, took a loss. He then came back and knocked out the next 4 guys. TKO with punches. TKO punches. TKO punches. TKO punches. The man went basically a calendar year and knocked everybody's ass out.
The dude's different.
Then came back in the UFC, in the Ultimate Fighter, and submitted his first opponent in UFC action. And then he
and went on to win the show.
Yeah, and then he went on a couple decision streaks. But he's fought the likes of Alexander Yakovlev, Shane Strickland, Sergio Moraes, Damian Maia, Rafael Dos Anjos, Tyron Woodley, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, and Masvidal. He's knocked Jorge Masvidal out once, and he's gotten another unanimous decision by his ass, the supposed BMF.
Yeah, but let's not forget that the last 2 fights, he literally took their souls.
He knocked them both out. He's on a 2-fight knockout streak.
Gilbert Burns is not the same. And I don't think Jorge Masvidal will ever be the same.
So Usman has 9 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, 9 by decision. You are giving a man motivation when he needs absolutely 0. Usman is going to run through his ass because he's had to sit here and listen.
Choo-choo.
He's had to sit here and listen that, Colby Covington and Usman fought UFC 245. This was on December 14th of 2019. So basically almost 2 years. He's had to sit here and listen to, Colby Covington chirp, 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 chirp.
While Usman's just taking people's souls.
He's just
snatching them.
He's just running through people. In his entire stretch, since he fought Colby Covington, he's gone to decision once. He's knocked the other 3 guys out.
And this is the thing too that I think Colby kind of thinks that he's going to be able to do. He's going to be able to get inside of his head because he did a little bit the first time. That was a different. That's a whole
Kamaru. Different Usman.
Like I've said. After that Woodley fight, Usman kind of changed a little bit. He wasn't the same fighter. This was a guy who, he broke your jaw and blah, blah, blah. But then that Masvidal fight, he wasn't the same guy. Then he went up to elevate, and he has changed.
Oh, yeah, no.
He is I mean this in every sense of the word. He is a literal monster. He is a dude that should be giving everyone in that weight class nightmares.
Yeah, he fought Jorge Masvidal to decision, in UFC 251.
But that wasn't the same guy.
No, but then he fought Masvidal the second time. So you're thinking, second time, Masvidal might have learned some things. He might be able to come back and beat him. No, he knocked his ass out a minute and 2 seconds into the second round.
He literally, you saw his soul leave Masvidal.
Yeah, he damn near killed him.
Usman is going to run through Covington's ass, and he's not, I don't know if he'll break the jaw or whatever. He might not. We'll see. He's going to knock his ass out and hit a walk-off like Jose Batista, do a bat flip like Jose Batista did in the playoffs.
I literally wish that they could somehow get something so he can flip it after he knocks him out.
If he knocks him out, and I'm hoping he does because I cannot stand Colby Covington, The post-fight press or post-fight interview with Rogan's going to be incredible.
I'm just going to put it like this.
Okay.
Colby damn near almost got killed in the cage the first go-round.
No, he fought. He stayed
fought,
in it.
He fought, but his jaw was completely unhinged.
Yep. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Bullshit, allegedly.
Yeah.
Weird. You didn't eat for a month.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
My jaw wasn't
and you
broken.
haven't fought since. Usman has been just dominant. He is by far and away.
To borrow a phrase from Undertaker, he's been digging holes and taking souls.
Dude, that's why I'm saying he's literally been taking people's souls away.
He's pound for pound the best fighter on the planet.
You
Bar
don't.
none.
You leave that octagon not the same person.
Yeah.
Like, look at how Gilbert Burns' last fight. He was, I'm a wrestler again.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wrestle you. I'm gonna get you on the ground. I'm just gonna, get a decision. That's not how Gilbert Burns was fighting before Usman. Now was it?
No. This is what led Masvidal go into pro wrestling for a little bit. Even though he does have a fight against Leon Edwards coming up too.
Yeah, but that's whatever. That's just blood. That's, beef. So that's whatever. That's not the same fight.
Right. Usman doesn't need a lot to get excited about in that division because he's king.
He doesn't give a shit anyway.
But he now has motivation.
Right.
I'm just gonna say he's gonna finish him by the third round, and it's gonna be bad.
So here's the thing, like when this Elevate camp, started and everything in the videos and stuff. At first, I wasn't huge on it because you saw the first fight with Masvidal, right, where he had first went to Elevate. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great, right? That wasn't the best version of himself. But they've now found it, and they've honed in on it, and he's only gotten more people around him that are successful. Yeah. And what happens when that happens? You know what I mean? Like when you're chasing greatness with other greats, you only want to succeed more. Like you look at like guys who have become greats in other sports, Gretzky's, Messier's, I don't give a shit what you say. Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, like they all, LeBron, like they all surrounded themselves with other greats and they borrow practices from them. Yeah. So you bring Ngannou into your camp. You bring a Gaethje into your camp. Thug Rose has been around there every once in a while. You know what I mean? So you're plucking all these greats, and all you're doing is getting better.
Yeah.
You're only learning. There's no stagnation anymore. There's no, okay, we're setting our ways and we're going to keep doing that. You know what I mean? Like America Top Team. All those guys are stagnant right now. You know what I mean? Because they're all stuck in their ways, minus Nunez. But she's a different story.
Yeah, Nunez is a whole different ballgame.
But you keep bringing people in, and you keep evolving, and you just become more dangerous. And that's exactly what this camp is. I take back all the mean things I ever said about Elevate. They are the real deal. Mm-hmm. He is the best coach in the world. Usman is the best fighter in the world, and he will show it on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a wrap.
Their whole camp will show it on Saturday.
Yeah, they're going to put on a show Saturday night. We will be live reacting to it on twitch.tv/607 podcast. We're returning to stream for that. We hope Coach chimes in via Twitter. I'll read them off on screen.
I mean, I wish I could fly. I want to watch.
I know you want to watch.
Fuck, man. Stupid responsibilities. We got a turkey shoot tournament on Sunday morning at 9, and I'm just
darn adulting.
Not doing it. If it was Connor, I'd risk it, but for the biscuit.
You just leave the phone on and just kind of chime in.
Yeah. Well, just let me know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So you definitely want to make sure you drop that follow and join us in the chat on Saturday night. But until then, hit us up on that hashtag ODPHpod. What is your thoughts about UFC 268? And then what is your reaction to UFC 267? A lot of great UFC action going on this week. We want to talk. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Do not adjust your dial. Or, well, your phone, your watch, or whatever the heck you're using to listen to the awesome podcast you're currently listening to. I am the Duke of Nerds, Tyler Mack, and I am here to tell you that being a nerd can be a bit overwhelming, especially after 30. Life moves pretty fast in our nerd culture, and if you don't take the time to notice things, you miss out. That's why I'm here. As your Duke of Nerds, I am charged with educating, enlightening, and entertaining you on all things nerdy. I do it by running the 30 and Nerdy podcast. 30 and Nerdy is a Badcast Company production and currently playing wherever you cast your pod. Follow along each episode using the hashtag 30andNerdyPod. And check out what all is going on at 30andNerdyPodcast.com. Whether it's DC, Marvel, comics, or video games, I have got you covered. So tune in now. Cheers to you, nerds.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got for the local minute?
Gotta talk some Binghamton Black Bears hockey, and if that sounds a little odd to you folks that aren't in the 607 area, long story short, the New Jersey Devils left our ass at the altar.
Say what you feel, Pad.
Left our ass at the altar to go.
Well, and the AHL did not fit the bill.
Yep. So we have a new team from a new league, from the FPHL, the Binghamton Black Bears, stepping in. Inaugural season's already started here a couple days ago. They are currently only played 2 games. They got a record of 1-1. Looking at their schedule, they got coming up this week. They've got an away game. They are playing this Friday, 7:30. They're playing the Delaware Thunder. They would come home for their home opener this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, at the Visions Veteran Memorial Arena, playing said Delaware Thunder. For more tickets and information, BinghamtonBlackBears.com.
Your boy will be there Saturday night, too, with his son's travel lacrosse team, the Southern Tier Wolfpack. We'll have a table with some goodies and a raffle basket and all that good jazz. So if you do come out, come say hello.
And I got to say, looked at the ticket prices, very family friendly.
Yeah.
Very, very reasonable.
Hey, and if you get them through me, $10 tickets through Wolfpack. So
Hey.
send me a message if you want tickets.
Please. At Coach Stuffy11 on Twitter.
Please.
Yeah, they'll make that happen for you.
Ticket sales, not so hot.
Well, you know
but
what?
try.
It's a new team. They're getting used to the area.
Yeah.
So we're being optimistic about it. So we'll
Sure.
definitely have to check it out.
Yeah,
So
please.
Coach will have a live reaction to it for next week's
Sure.
show. We'll definitely talk about it.
I mean, I won't be able to watch much hockey, though, because I'll be at the table, but I'll try.
But you got monitors there.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
how
true.
we do. So you'll be able to check that. Also, kicking off this past weekend was the Binghamton Bulldogs.
Hey! Heyo.
And going right from their Facebook page, what a game. Bulldogs claw back from being down 80-70 to score 22 points in the final 4 minutes to win 92-90, so they're 1-0 for the season. Ralph Williams, 17 points, 11 assists. Brent Williams, 16 points. Derek Hart, 13 points. And Derek Carmen, 12 points. So they are currently number 6 in the ABA rankings as they're posting on their Facebook page. And their next game is going to be...
And while Ken's searching for that, Jimmy, real quick, man. Hey, great job on the Facebook stream. Congratulations on the Bulldog house.
Looks
right?
very
I mean,
nice.
it
Looks
looks
very good.
great. My 11-year-old will be playing basketball there. On the broadcast, on the Facebook, if you can just get the scoreboard somewhere in there.
That would help.
You know, like,
okay,
because I was
okay.
searching the comments and having to do all that. So I know later on in the game they did kind of segue a scoreboard into it, but just a little thing. Just a little
Sure,
thing. But
sure.
otherwise, great product the Bulldogs put on. I can't wait to go up and catch the game at the dog pen. Looking forward to the season. I'm sure they'll make a run. Ken's got the next game.
Yes, next game they're going to be home again against the Herkimer Originals Saturday night, November 6th, 7:05 tip-off time at the Bulldogs Sport Complex. More information, BinghamtonBulldogs.com. But Saturday night is not the only thing going on in the area.
No, it's not.
No, because we have to talk some wrestling.
Wrestling!
Excite Wrestling is back at the X
What a card.
with their most stacked card to date.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Bar none.
Yeah.
One Will Fall, being brought to you live at the X, Oakdale Mall, 601 Harriel Drive, Johnson City, New York, if you are in the 607. Door is open at 5 o'clock. The show is at 6. If you're on the meet and greet, that's 4 p.m. Stack card top to bottom.
Top to bottom, T to B, baby.
Yes, your main event is the Excite Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. Champion Bill Collier taking on Colby Carino and Anthony Green.
Okay.
And a featured match, which is getting a lot of hype, is the one and only Matt Cardona, the hottest free agent in all pro wrestling.
I've heard of him. I believe he used to be known as Zack Ryder.
Yes,
Whoa,
yes.
whoa.
For GCW, Impact, he's been making the rounds.
Oh yeah, Mr. Hardcore.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has taken on friend of the show, the hybrid Sean Carr.
Hey, Sean Carr, ladies and gentlemen. What a great match for him to get to have.
What a week he's going to have.
Sure.
What a week, because as we're recording right now, he is going to be on AEW Dark.
Right now, 7:37.
Yes,
Yeah.
legitimately he's going to be on. So you can check that on YouTube, AEW's YouTube, and definitely want to see him live in person. Get to the X this Saturday night. If not, twitch.tv/67podcast. That's not the only thing that's going on in the card. High Seas is taking on 2 Infinity and Beyond in a tag team title match.
Okay.
You have a steel cage match. Now, Coach, are you familiar with CZW?
I have heard of it and have seen a few things.
So if I say the Carnage Crew versus the Awakening, do you know who's in the match?
I will know some of them, but not all of them. Why don't you elaborate for those who don't know?
So we have H.C. Loke
Okay.
and Masada
Mm-hmm.
taking on
Sada.
Cade Lothbrok
Okay.
and G. Raver
Oh, okay.
in a steel cage match.
Yeah, so that's going to get physical.
Yes, to put it mildly.
Yes.
And there was some late-breaking news
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
that this scramble match that was originally just going to be a normal scramble match is now going to be for the Excite International title.
Whoa.
LSG is not medically cleared to wrestle.
Yeah.
So they're stripping him of the international championship.
Boo. How harsh.
Yes. So they are going to be stripping him of the title. So it's going to be between Mark Sterling, TJ Epics, Ash Aubrey, Brandon Thurston, Jay Freddy, Vince Fowler, and Kenan Moore for the belt.
Okay.
That's going to be insane.
Yes. So they got a lot more going on.
Scramble matches are always fun.
Yes. But especially for a title being involved.
Sure.
That's going to be wild. So for more information on that, excitewrestling.com, or just drop that follow if you're not in the 607, twitch.tv/excitewrestling, spelled XCITE. And they'll be having the show probably streaming.
Ooh.
They did the last couple, so I'm assuming they're going for the hat trick. We will get confirmation from that from Johnny Moose sooner than later.
I tried to see if I could swing both. Unfortunately, just not logistically possible.
Well, that's why I say you drop that Twitch follow, you'll be able to catch the show because it's going to be a hell of a night of pro
Disappointed.
wrestling.
I wanted to see Cardona so bad.
Yes. So let us go round the bases and take the show home, shall we?
Yeah, I got to talk a little bit of baseball because the World Series is in play. You got Atlanta taking on the Houston Asterisks, and fuck them. Atlanta currently leading the series 3-2. Game 6 taking tonight as we record in Houston, 8:09 p.m. Eastern on Fox. And you got Max Fried for Atlanta taking on Luis Garcia from Houston. And I tell you what, man, if Atlanta pulls this off, their entire bullpen should get the fucking MVP. Because their bullpen has been nothing short of stellar. Of course, game 1, you had the tragic injury to Charlie Morton, who took a line drive, 100 mile an hour ball off the bat to his leg, broke his goddamn leg, pitched 16 pitches on said broken leg while he sat down for like 15-20 minutes in between innings. And then they pulled him out of the game and then apologized to his teammates for not going in the game longer. My guy, you had a broken leg. You know, so he only went 2 1/3 innings, and you had the bullpen come in and bail him out there. Then you had game 2 where you had Fried last 5 innings. You know, so okay, give the bullpen a little bit of relief there. After that, you had Anderson come in 5 innings. So again, little taxing on the bullpen there. Then you come back in the next game where the starting pitcher for Atlanta lasted all of a third of an inning. Again. Bullpen coming up clutch.
Yeah.
Definitely getting taxed on. And then you had this last game 5, where potentially could have been the first time a team won the World Series on Halloween in like baseball history. It's absolutely insane. They didn't though, but still you had the starting pitcher for Atlanta only go 2 innings. So again, taxing the bullpen. So as I said, if Atlanta is able to pull this off, I think you should give the MVP to that entire bullpen because they are fucking insane right now. Also got to give a little plug because if Atlanta wins the game tonight, Trevor Plouffe will have predicted it. Yes, so Trevor Plouffe, former Major League Baseball player, tweeted, and you can go to his Twitter profile, which is at Trevor Plouffe. That's TrevorPlouffe, just to prove I'm not lying about this. He has pinned the tweet to his Twitter page. Tweeted at 3:01 p.m. Eastern on the 31st of March, 2021. Quote, Atlanta Braves over the Houston Astros in 6. If Atlanta wins tonight, he will have successfully predicted the World Series.
Let's hope he's right.
I'm hoping so.
Because otherwise the title will be vacant if Atlanta doesn't win, in my opinion.
Yes.
I'm not respecting that at all. Coach, how about your base?
I believe that I just hit a double, Ken, out of nowhere. Got a couple things to touch on. College football rankings literally came out while we're broadcasting. So your top 4 looks as follows. Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, Oregon. And then rounding out the top 6, Ohio State and Cincinnati. So Ohio State and Cincinnati, your first 2 out. Absolute garbage that Alabama got into the top 4 just because they are Alabama. Cincinnati, I 100% believe that their fall in the rankings is because their last 2 performances, and that's on Cincinnati. I mean, when you have a conference schedule the way that you do, which I know you can't help, you got to put up blockbuster performances, and unfortunately their last 2 games they have not done that. Ohio State, to me, is a team on the rise, and I am very much looking forward to their absolute murderer's row that they have to face the next 3 weeks with Michigan State and Michigan, and obviously just being Penn State last week. Sorry, Pad.
It happens.
And then in the top 10...
It was a great game.
Sure, it was. It was a great game. And then top 10, Notre Dame did round out at number 10, so I'm happy about that because this is a rebuilding year, and I'm just glad that we're even being talked about.
Fair enough.
So, well, I'm them, but
Well,
you know,
you are an
I
honorary
dedicate my goddamn time to them, so I deserve the we. And in other news, I haven't been here for the Knicks.
I know. I've been waiting for
Bing
this.
bong. Let's go. Hey, it's been great. I love this team. I love the energy they play with. RJ Barrett is a goddamn star, and put respect. I'm pointing at the mic, right, Ken?
Yep.
You put respect on his name. You talk that name with respect because he has earned it. This guy is absolutely, he's shooting 47.3% from pull-up threes. A guy who couldn't hit a jump shot to save his life coming out of college is now shooting 47.3% from pull-up threes.
His critics are real quiet this season, too, huh?
Do you hear him?
Yeah.
I don't hear him.
Knicks currently tied for first place in the Atlantic Conference.
Ba-ba-ba-bow.
Hey, I can't wait to, I hope my only concern is this team down the stretch because Tibbs is running these guys into the absolute ground again. And that is my biggest concern because shut the Siri.
Siri's hyped
Siri's
about
like,
the Knicks.
fuck, piss off. He is absolutely Julius Randle's logging major minutes. RJ Barrett's running long, minutes. Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker's running minutes. So I'm hoping that as the season stretches on, that we can start to kind of alleviate the minutes away from these guys and starting to put them back onto the rookies and let them run a little bit and get them some experience. But I absolutely love the on-court product. They play defense. Mm-hmm. They play hustle. They're opening the floor. I would love to get Obi Toppin and Julius on the floor at some points. I think when they're down or in the third quarter when they need a little bit of a juice, you sub in Derrick Rose and you sub in Toppin, and you have Toppin, Randle, RJ, Fournier, and Derrick Rose in that lineup. I think that is like the equivalent of Golden State's death row lineup that they had. That will absolutely kill teams. But all things considered, take a deep breath here. Mm-hmm. Stay calm, Knicks fans, okay? Stay calm. We gotta ride out this season. I really think that they can be the 1 seed in the East. The East is there to be had, but we got to be in it for the long haul, all right? We can't give up too much energy too early. I loved the energy after Game 1, beating the Celtics in overtime. Fantastic, but it's a long season, guys. Knicks fans, we got 82 games. Long stretch. We need to reserve ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because
I'm with you.
We're going to get gassed out as fans, and we can't do that. The Garden's got to be electric all 42 home games.
We just got to win on Christmas Day.
I got two words for you. Bing bong.
Yes, and Bing Bong is for the people.
Yes.
It is for the people. It is a mindset.
Mike Breen signs off on it.
That's fine. The people were killing it. They were like, oh, R.I.P. because Mike Breen said it. No, Mike Breen is a New York guy.
Yeah.
Mike Breen has permission to say Bing Bong because Bing Bong is a mindset, people. That is a mindset. It is not just a phrase. It is something that this Knicks team needs to live and die on when they're hitting threes. Bing Bong all day. I loved it. I loved that video. That Side Talk video was fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I watch it after every Knicks win. I get hyped up by it. The Knicks wall, they do the, what up, my guy? And then he goes on the train. He's like, good fucking morning. I love that video. I'm fucking hyped, man. I'm so glad the Knicks are back. Because the Giants suck. Baseball's whatever. The Rangers are looking better.
Rangers looking fantastic.
Rangers look
right
fantastic.
Now.
But football sucks. So this is really all I have in my life. And I was talking to some Knicks fans and my wife, and I'm like, Ken, I don't know what I will do if the Knicks win a finals. Shh. I don't. I'm just saying.
Easy.
We'll start the GoFundMe for bail money.
Like
yeah, We might get arrested.
I literally think that because I've seen the Giants, I've seen the Rangers, I've been lucky enough to see that. I've come to grasp with the fact that Notre Dame in the modern era will never win a national title. But the Knicks, if the Knicks won a championship, I think I would cry. I would literally have tears streaming down my face, and then I'm good to go. That's it. That's a wrap.
People thought it was crazy when the Cavaliers won one, and like, just what would happen with the parade there, because they've been, like 50 years or something at that point?
Yeah, but they had the best goddamn player in the world.
No, I get that, but just in terms of the team finally winning a championship after 50-some-odd years, people are like, oh my God, the season's going to go nuts. Fucking Knicks win one? Oh my God,
dude. New York will literally... The
stock exchange will shut down the next day.
They'll be on fire.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the dream, champions,
Canyon of Champions.
Canyon of Champions. That place will be packed. You won't be able to get there. They'll have to extend the route because people will want to see there and be there because this, New York loves the Yankees, obviously.
Yeah.
The New Yorkers, them New Yorkers, they love the Rangers. You know what I mean? Yeah, them guys. They love the Rangers. Obviously, they love the Giants.
They want to love the Knicks.
Yeah, they want, the passion that all New Yorkers have for the Knicks.
It's a different breed.
Not you fake ass Brooklyn fans. You take your shit the other way. I'm saying those diehard Knicks fans that have been there from the 3-14 John Starks days to all the way to the 0-1 team that Patrick Ewing tore his Achilles and couldn't play anymore, to the team that saw him got traded, to the years of Marbury, to the years of Isaiah Thomas. We've been through it all, Ken. We've been through it all, and now we finally have a winner. And I'll call him what I see it. It's a winner. Now, championship level, we'll see. But this team is a winning team with a winning mindset. And it is all thanks to Rose and Worldwide West, Julius Randle, and Tibbs.
Mm-hmm.
And Dolan getting the shit out of the way.
Just keep buying a Dolan CD. Like I tell you, he's going to get him on tour. He's going to leave the Garden.
No, he's been there. You see him in the broadcast? He sits, oddly enough, he's got seats right by the end line, right on the right side of the Knicks basket, right by their bench, which I would think is an odd spot for him to sit because obviously, A, the volatility of Knicks fans and how much they hate him, and B, just being that close to the players when I don't even think the players like him that much.
I think winning makes friends.
Well, you've always said it. Go ahead, get your phrase in there.
Winning always makes friends out of crazy bedfellows.
You got to get your gimmick in there.
You have to. So, like I say, winning is the Band-Aid that heals all wounds. So
Russian leg sweep and then the elbow off the middle rope, right,
yep.
Brett?
You know it.
Work it in.
You know it.
No, I love it. The Garden is fire. The new, did you see the City Edition jerseys?
Yeah.
Those black jerseys. And then, I don't know if you saw the court. The court's going to be black and orange when they wear those jerseys. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The only thing that could have been better if we could have gotten the 98 uniforms back. With that black piping.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's okay. We got all black jerseys instead.
It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good season.
Wait till you see the white, because the playoff edition that come out after Christmas, those are going to be white because that's what happened. They just do the city jerseys white.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. A lot to be excited about.
Just excited. Like I haven't been here, guys. So if you're tired of hearing me, sorry, but I didn't get to talk about the Knicks. So
I know,
and I'm proud. I'm a proud Papa Bear right now.
Well, that's what I said. We get on Twitter. We talking Mackie, Jay West. Shout out to We Get Dubbed. I mean, they're the Knicks fans that have been with us.
Yeah.
And like I said, we have a nice healthy check.
And it's mad funny. I mean, obviously, I grew up with the Knicks being so bad. Well, not the whole time, but most of my 20s. And my son's living in an era right now where he's like, Dad, did the Knicks win? And I'm like, no. And he's like, what? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, shit, the Knicks lost again. They're playing Toronto. They're going to get smoked. You know what I mean? But, now I'm like, oh, they're favored by 7?
We got to look at, for me, it's the Knicks started doing bad when the Bills started doing bad. I've had the double whammy, man.
Yeah, at least I had the Giants
bounce.
They were resurgent when they were bad.
I mean, I've had a long, cold winter. When people say winter is coming, it's
cold. It's cold, man. Not anymore.
No. Now it's nice and warm. Now I'm good. I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Now you can prosper.
Yeah. But like I say, if the Knicks win the chip, I don't even know.
It would just be amazing. The city would absolutely you saw the energy that they had after that win in overtime. Imagine that to infinity.
Yeah. You thought the R.J. Smith thing was bad? No, that would be like the whole Burrows.
Yeah.
People just shut down.
I mean, at work there, you wouldn't work.
No.
Like you wouldn't even be able to go to work.
People would just be partying in the streets for weeks.
Yeah.
New York was shut down. Like, literally.
Like Rucker, forget it.
Yeah, forget it. People would just be walking around partying in the streets.
Dickman, forget it. Like, Eichmann, it'd be nuts.
Yeah.
It'd be nuts.
It's going to be the wildest time. Fingers crossed we get to see it. I might have to go down for that.
I'm too scared.
I'll take my chances. Go out swinging there. So keep it in New York. The Rangers, because people say we don't talk hockey enough. Well, I just talked some Rangers because since our last broadcast, the Rangers 2 games, 2 wins.
Out of nowhere.
4-0 against Columbus and 3-1 against those new to the league Seattle Kraken, playing tonight 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time against Vancouver. And
West Coast trips, man.
Yeah, they're on Canada for the weekend, playing Edmonton Friday night, Calgary Saturday night, and then they return Monday night against Florida. So definitely Rangers are doing big things, especially.
How about that Chris Kreider?
Kreider's playing phenomenal, but Adam Fox.
Hey.
7-year deal. He's getting reportedly $9.5 million.
Ooh, all right.
Average value. So, like, it's crazy to see, but well deserved.
Got to get paid
to see him get paid. So 7 years locked him up. I think it's the biggest contract for a defenseman ever in the NHL. So good for him. He produces. He'll show up on the ice. Blue Shirt Nation, stand the puck up. Let's go. And let us end because we haven't talked wrestling with you in studio, Coach.
Okay. Yes,
Pat,
I'm familiar.
Pat jumps in the chat on 607 TWS
Yeah.
each week. But let us talk about the biggest story going on in wrestling to close out the news portion of the show.
Okay.
So, Pat?
So the tweet came down just a couple of days ago back on October 27th, which was about Wednesday last week, from the folks at ROH Wrestling, which reads, quote, "Throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe. And despite not producing any live events over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted. We now find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations and are planning a pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. The year will culminate with a final battle in December, and we will be taking the first quarter of 2022 to work internally and reimagine ROH. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate their loyalty and patience as we conceptualize ROH. We anticipate returning to live events in April for the Super Card of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a unique experience for wrestling fans," close quote. So that obviously came out, and then that led to the news that basically anyone contracted by ROH is being let out of their contracts after a set time. If you want to get out sooner, they're willing to work with you, or you, not you, the listener, but work with those wrestlers. And for all intents and purposes, it sounds like now I know people were saying ROH is dead. Not necessarily the case. It just appears that they're taking a bit of a pivot and that they're going to be going to more of an indie-based focus where they don't really have anybody under contract. It's just you're kind of assigning some people to work a date, work a couple of TV tapings, work a pay-per-view, but you're not keeping anybody long-term. Obviously, the pandemic has had a very hard impact on them, much like a lot of places in the world. And it's just a shame to see. ROH, while not the biggest federation in the world, it's definitely had an impact. There's definitely a number of folks in WWE and AEW that were it not for ROH and the success it had, we might not know about, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes forward.
Coach, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time because you never want to see a corporation, have to kind of reassess their business model, especially one of ROH, because they've been, I don't want to necessarily say a breeding ground, but they've been a place for people to hone their craft, to get ready for the inevitable WWE run, back in the day, a la the Punks, the Bryans, the Seth Rollins, all those guys really honed their craft there. And it's very, Kevin, the list can go on. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, you know what I mean? So it's very tough to see, them have to do this just when you kind of felt like they were, they were the indie highlight. You know what I mean? If you made it to ROH, you had essentially been able to say, I've made it to the peak of my profession at this level, and now it is either, me ready to move on, or I will be here and I can live a life comfortably and go on for the rest of my time wrestling. So it's sad to see them have to fold. and fold the way that they had to, letting everybody. I'm not even sad. I mean, honorable of them.
Yeah.
Of them to or for them to be able to let people out of their contracts at this time. They didn't have to do that. You know, they could have eventually just let them move on, and they did the right thing by the wrestlers and letting them get out of their contracts so they could move on. I am pretty interested to see what happens with the library.
Yeah.
I really think that is the biggest thing from this. I mean, talent side alone, obviously there's going to be a bidding war on some of the talent. Unfortunately, other parts of the talent have kind of burned bridges. So, you know, they're essentially indies for life, or it's to AEW. But that library has some pretty integral moments as far as young careers of the Bucks, of Adam Cole, of, you know, AJ Styles. So there's a lot of, you know, a lot of Punk matches, a lot of Samoa Joe. So there's a lot of gravitas with that library that, you know, to me, I think it's a must buy for Tony Khan. I think AEW has to move quickly, and they have to get this. And if they don't, I think it's a huge miss, because not only would they miss out on having all the Bucks, Cole, and some Omega stuff in their early day, and Bryan and Punks, they would have all those matches missed. ROH also has the rights to the first All Out.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, huge. And if WWE gets it, good on them. Great move.
Well, I think you have to look at it like this. I mean, we touched upon this in a little more in depth on 6 or 7 TWS last night. That they're making the transition to become more of like a real independent.
Yeah.
Like Rich was kind of talking about, which I really see that vision happening.
Yeah.
I think it will help them survive, and if that's the way they want to go with. I mean, obviously, to see the product that they put out and the careers that they've helped launch has been truly astonishing. Like, every big name that's in wrestling right now, for the most part, has come through those doors. So to see them now taking a break and making a transition is a little wild and still kind of surreal. But I understand from the business aspect of it that they have to really kind of sit back, and with no live crowds, I mean, obviously, they are very heavily tied back by that because of the contracts they signed. So,
well, but the problem is, though, is that by letting everybody out of their contract, you know, a lot of these guys were probably sought after by AEW. You know, you got to assume that, because, I mean, WWE, obviously, if they wanted you, they were going to get you, and they were going to wait for everything to play out. But, like, I don't feel like and especially with the direction that NXT 2.0 is going, that these guys that would have signed from ROH to WWE are going to go there now. And I think AEW is going to make a play for a lot of these guys.
Not necessarily with WWE wanting them would have got him, because I don't remember who it was, but there was a guy who signed with ROH right before AEW came out.
Right.
And was announced and the whole nine, and had the whole press conference. And then his contract came up, and he re-upped with ROH. And this was like within the last 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And now he's looking at, you know, had a chance to go to AEW and do that whole thing, and maybe he will end up over there. But he turned down AEW twice, and now the company's going out of business. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. I know there was a supposed list of folks that AEW has already signed, to which I've seen reported no place else.
Yeah.
So I take that with a very small grain of salt as to whether it's true or not. Could it happen? Yeah, maybe. You know, the interesting thing, though, I think you hit on is definitely the library, just because there's a lot of stuff there for both AEW and WWE. It's been long rumored the last couple of months that, you know, AEW wants to come out with its own streaming service, which, let's face it, you're a relatively new company. That's not a knock on you guys. It's facts. You don't have that much to put in there, so unless you put it at a super low price point, there's no reason to really sign up for it, you know, because, you go back and watch 2 and a half years worth of pay-per-views. Okay, not really that much of a reason to go for it. But if you do that, plus, hey, we've got the entirety of ROH's library here, then all of a sudden you got some folks going, you know what, I might take a look at that.
You become a player then if you have the ROH library. I mean, I think that's the biggest free agent that anybody could sign.
Yeah, no, for real.
To put it out there, because if AEW has been rumored, and I want to stress rumored, to be... Yeah. Like, there was talk of them thinking about doing a streaming service. You need to get more content on your service. I don't think Roads to the Top on repeat is going to really get anybody through the door. I'm just going to put that out there. So for them to get that library, I think would be huge. But I think with Vince though, they'll drive up the asking price too much. I don't know if TK is going to really.
Hey,
want to
he's got all the money in the world, right?
Allegedly, so that's why I say this could be a beneficial thing for Ring of Honor in the sense if you really want to transition to something else, you could. For some of the wrestlers, though, it'll be very interesting to see where it falls out because if everybody's let go from their contracts, would it make sense to sign with WWE? I mean, I like I said last night on the show, I could only see a couple of guys going to WWE.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I see. Dalton Castle, I think, is locked and loaded for NXT. He's a character. So I could see that because that's what they're really pushing now.
They also don't have that like oddball character down at NXT right now.
Right. So
I had him pegged for an AEW.
No, see, I have him locked.
But that makes sense. The character thing.
The character, because that's what they're really building with NXT 2.0 is characters.
Right.
Not necessarily great wrestlers.
USA is characters.
Yes. Facts. So I could see him going there. The other person I could see jumping out to go to WWE is Jay Lethal.
Can we get him in the ring across from Charlotte Flair?
Oh, that's why I say like he has so much more than wrestling with charisma.
Sure.
I think it could translate to that WWE audience.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, he's a hell of a talent in the ring too.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that there's some sort of animosity between the two. I was reading somewhere that I don't know if he would want to go back to WWE because he did have a brief run in the early 2000s, so I don't know.
But I guess but then like in the wrestling business, you can never say never.
No, you can't. And I mean, obviously, money talks. You got a family. Times change. Yeah, I mean, and I know that NXT is trying to skew younger, but I mean, him doing just like you said, the character thing. Him bringing back the machismo. Or him just being knocked into next week and all of a sudden he's Ric Flair. Like all that shit, would play off really well on NXT.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like there's a possibility to go there. Like I could see Jay going to the main roster too, but it just also depends on what he wants to do.
Right.
And like I say, I think he would with NXT, I think there's more of that closer to Ring of Honor vibe in the sense than there is the main roster.
That's fair.
Because main roster is more entertainment than wrestling.
Danhausen obviously, unfortunately, broken leg. Hopefully for a speedy recovery.
Yeah, him and Mance Warner too. Please go out buy some merch for those guys.
But him, and that character, he would be perfect on an NXT.
Oh yeah, Danhausen would be there too. I have a feeling though he goes to AEW because I know
he's got.
And I know with the broken leg, but I threw this out, and I'm going to say it here, too. Put him on commentary on Rampage. Cut the booth down while he's rehabbing. Put him on commentary.
Yeah.
Let him go with Jericho, because Jericho does commentary usually on Friday nights, too.
Right.
Let those two balance out, and then you can put, Tony Schiavone with him or somebody else.
Yeah, please stop putting Stark and Taz.
Yeah. The four-man booth is not working.
Dude, not only that, but you're putting guys, who are in a stable together with Taz and Starks. And it's just, it doesn't work.
No.
And then you get Jericho in the mix, who's like a tweener right now. And it's like you got three heels in the booth, plus, Schiavone or whoever does it, JR?
Yeah.
It's like, I mute it.
Yeah.
I mute it when I want to watch it because I just can't listen to all of that.
Well, that's the problem. I think Rampage could go for an overhaul, and I think if you put Hausen on there while he's rehabbing...
Dude, have him do Dark, too.
Yeah.
That would get people to watch.
Absolutely. You have some possibilities with him because he's a good character to get on there, and he can talk on the mic and definitely get over. So, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
If you're going for the wrestling aspect, I mean, the biggest name you could sign is Jonathan Gresham.
Okay.
But... where would he fit in the AEW roster? Because right now it's so saturated.
Dude, it's so much.
That's the problem that I think a lot of these guys going to Impact is a smart move.
Yeah.
Like I said,
they're running the same thing because they have limited crowd too.
They do, but they've been making it work though a little bit more so. And now that they have been going in front of more live crowds lately, I think helps. But I think if you're looking at the wrestling aspect, that's the where you go. Like I say, and I don't mean to keep going back, but when we were saying on 607 TWS about this, Impact is kind of like the real open door.
Sure.
The forbidden door. So if wrestlers want to go there and then kind of see, if you want to go to New Japan, you can wrestle there. If you want to do some other indies like GCW, you can go there. Where I think with AEW, it's tricky, but that's the problem is right now you're signing everybody under the sun.
Dude, they've got no room for anybody.
Yeah, you just signed Lee Moriarty, and you haven't really done anything with him yet. And he was the biggest name on the indies right now.
I mean, I'm not to mention what has happened with Mr. Adam Cole, as we mentioned before. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, well,
just saying.
we're all just kind of waiting to see what happens. I mean,
That dude was a world champion and was carrying a brand. And now not. I haven't gotten talking wrestling in a while, so
yeah, no, absolutely.
That's why I call my shots.
That's why I wanted you back on here. Like I
I'm
said,
going to call my shots. This dude was carrying a brand. He was the guy. Now he's just a dude in the stable.
It's weird of how they're setting it up, because what I fully see happening is you're going to get him and Adam Page feuding for that belt.
Oh, probably.
What, when Omega's rehabbing stuff?
No, I think Omega's dropping that belt on Sunday.
I mean, yeah, I could see. But why? What do you think Hangman goes to Cole next, do you think?
Because I think you have to, no matter what anybody says, you have to run back Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega from
and you don't want to have a belt there?
That wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it would make a lot of sense, sure, but I think that with AEW, to kind of give a little preview for next week, AEW has to move the belt off Kenny Omega.
Sure.
And you had the perfect opportunity, and granted, I get there was time off reasons why.
Right.
You didn't move it at all out. Now you're running it with Kenny Omega and Page at Full Gear. You have to pull the trigger on Hangman getting the world title.
Fair.
So what are you going to do? Have Hangman versus Danielson at a pay-per-view? Which, granted, it's a great match, but storyline
Face on
purpose,
face.
yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it almost feels like Omega dropping it to Hangman and then moving on to Cole almost feels like 98, Shawn Michaels and DX.
Well,
like, I feel like, Omega loses the belt on Saturday clean because that's the only, like, you obviously can't have a schmaz.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, Cole's supposed to show up on Wednesday, and then it feels like it's, the restart of something. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way that it kind of, like, you feel like you have to go, because you can't just have Omega lose the belt, be branded as the guy, and then show up on Wednesday and be like, all right, I've moved on from it. You know what I mean? Like, because then that just makes your belt look second rate.
Well, the only thing that they can do is, if memory is serving me right, second week of January is supposed to be when they make the transition to TBS.
Right.
Something like that, yeah.
And then they're going to still have the TNT Clash of Champions. I'm just going to call it that just for purpose.
Sure.
Why not have Omega versus Page then? You can run that back so you can still keep the storyline going.
Right.
Leads up to that first match, and then you can throw Cole in the mix for Revolution when that happens in February.
It's just, yeah, it's tough.
It's a weird setup but that's the problem you have when you have so many main event guys.
But they've also not made Cole look like, I know obviously everybody's a Cole fan.
Yeah.
Like, but like, they haven't made him look like the man.
No, they haven't.
I mean,
because he's done very limited work in comparison. Like, he's been in a lot of tag matches. We haven't seen him in that many singles.
But not only that, but Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
Well, Jungle Boy, they're high on.
No, I know they are, but like in real, like let's
real terms, yeah. If you want to say like
let's look at the elevation of the card. Like, you should be seeing Cole mixing it up with Daniel Bryan. That's what I want to see.
Right, but I don't think that. But it's tricky though, and this is the problem they have. You bring in how many guys from other organizations?
Too many.
Right, and then they're all main eventers.
Right.
So are you going to have main event guy that you brought in versus main event guy you brought in, and the talent that you've had there since day one is not getting some shine?
Uh-huh.
That's the problem they've ran. They brought this on themselves.
I fully agree with you, but that's the problem they have.
Like, I mean, I watched the show and it's like, Punk cutting promo tonight, and I mean, Punk versus Kingston. That's where you're going to go at All Out.
I have an idea what they're doing, and I think this is going to play a factor. You're going to get Punk and Kingston at All Out. Like, that's going to happen. Or Full Gear.
Full Gear, yeah.
They're setting up Moxley for that heel turn.
Oh, it's going to be a swerve.
Big time. If you notice how he's been wrestling since he came back from GCW, and that's why I'm going to time it in, like I did this on Blocks Count Anywhere, he's been mowing through everybody.
Yeah.
Like old school John Moxley.
Right.
So this week he's supposed to take on Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
Now, if Moxley, your Stone Cold type character, mows down Orange Cassidy in a minute,
right,
how is that crowd going to react?
Not well.
Because Cassidy's one of their most over guys.
Right. Even though he's kind of fucking fizzled.
Right, but you have so many talents you're bringing in.
Sure.
Where you're going. You're basing the gimmick still ain't hot, even though you keep him in the mid card.
Yeah.
But the problem is, so you have Moxley go over that big, you're setting him up against Bryan Danielson. Like, that's the match that's going to happen at Full Gear for the number one contendership or the world title eliminator, like whatever the deal is there.
Right.
So let's say Danielson wins, which I fully see happening.
Sure.
Moxley loses and goes nuts on him.
Punk makes a save.
Punk makes the save. So then you have Kingston and Moxley versus Punk and Danielson.
Oh, so you see a tag. Okay.
And then that spawns out into eventually
Singles
Punk
matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I see that happening.
But that's
I don't agree with the booking, but that's what I see happening. But they
so many.
But they like doing all the moving pieces.
Yeah.
Like, that's one problem I have with them is if they get somebody, not necessarily saying a Paul Heyman, but a big one-centered voice, not named Tony Khan, steering that ship and doing the storylines.
I mean, shit's been better since Tony's taken over the 100% creative control.
Oh yeah, I'll give you that. Like, things have been better, but they're not great.
No,
but it's gonna take a while to get done.
No, I mean they have a year now of correcting to do.
Yeah,
because of what the Elite plus Rhodes were doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I thought Tony Khan knew more about wrestling than WCW did in 1996.
Tony's just got to stay the hell out of social media.
Yeah, he does. He needs to stay away from a microphone.
Yeah.
No, I mean they literally that year of letting them fucking run the barn or whatever you want to call it was the inmates running the asylum was absolutely. I mean, Cody with the faux retirement and everything, and not going heel, and then doubling down by not going heel the other night. It's like, what are we doing here?
The Rhodelander is doing the embrace the hate John Cena gimmick.
Yeah, but it's just.
I'm not. You can tell by the sound of my voice. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's just you don't want him on TV. He slows down the show, and it sucks because he was so hot after that Dustin Cody match. Like, he was over.
Right, but you know what his problem was? He tried not going Jeff Jarrett, and he said he took himself out of the world title picture.
Right.
And then what are you going to do when you have the big babyface, quote unquote, not going for the world title?
Well, not only did you not, but then you immediately have him win the ring, and then he immediately won the TNT title. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, you took yourself out of that, but then fans saw what you were doing on the flip.
Yeah.
The people aren't stupid.
I know, but that's the problem. But that's the problem they do is, like, they get in their ideas, they're in their heads. They get their ideas, and it just doesn't pan out.
Yeah,
because perception is not reality. So every time you think that you're doing something bigger than you are, it really isn't that the case. And then when you're the boss, nobody's telling you otherwise.
Right.
So it's like, well, I get to do whatever I want. Hey, and that's where you get the Rhodelander incidents, and it's like it just doesn't shape up.
And I've tried not to be so negative towards AEW because it's just toxic, and you can't. But I've also just I've tried to take the product in for what it is, and it's still tough to get through.
Because it's too indie.
It's not even that it's too indie.
No,
it's too much of them. It's too much of everybody. It's too much of Punk. It's too much of Bryan. It's too much of the Elite. It's too much of Rhodes. It's like I liked the time when Moxley was the guy. It's too much Jericho. You know what I mean? It's too much of that shit that we're so used to.
For being the alternative to WWE, they're relying on a lot of former WWE guys.
And that's it. That's exactly my problem with it. When I flip on the TV and I'm seeing all the ex-WWE guys and I'm seeing Tony Nese as the hottest free agent, I'm like,
former WWE.
Where's Orange Cassidy?
Adam Cole, former WWE. Malachi Black, former WWE. Miro, former WWE. Like, these are all guys that, listen, I don't watch AEW. This is well documented.
Yeah.
I might catch a highlight or two, but I don't watch the show just because, hey, it's not my cup of tea. But I see results and I see stuff online, and the guys they feature prominently are not, homegrown AEW guys. It's former WWE guys.
Well, and that's why I made the joke about Punk when he had that match against not Darby, but the other dude that's up and coming. It's like, who's going to be here?
Oh, Daniel Garcia.
Who's going to be here on Wednesday when CM Punk beats me and I have to work then?
Yeah.
Daniel Garcia is. You know what I mean? Like, it's just more of the same. It's just these people don't understand and see the bigger picture, and it's just regurgitation.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's the same shit we're seeing right now. Hogan's running the ship. Randy Savage is right there. Kevin Nash is right there. Scott Hall's right there. And right at the top is Eric Bischoff playing with house money.
But the problem is Bischoff knew what he was doing, though.
For the most part, until he got burnt out.
Yeah.
Well, who knows how long?
But that's going to be the big X factor we're going to have to see with AEW. I mean, that's something that moving forward, especially going into this pay-per-view coming up, we're definitely have to keep our eye on.
Yeah.
So that being said, we get a lot of wrestling talk, but we have to close this show out eventually. So we have to talk our locks and leaps, and definitely the competition is getting very fierce. Currently in the standings, JT from the East Coast Avengers is at 37 points. Right behind him, gaining ground, our very own Padawan J.
Hey.
Right behind him at 33 points is Rich from Three Fat Nerds. And then 30 points, Mash from Hops Geeks News. At 29 points, your coach, my coach, the coach, Coach Duffy.
Fizzling.
And Joey from So Wizard is right there with you. Evan the Great is at 28 points. I'm log jammed with the guys from We Get Dubbed, Mac East and Jay West at 27. Brian from Cheers to Comics at 24 points. JVD from Crossover Collision is at 23. And Andy Adams, 20 points. So that being said, let's give you our locks and leaps to wrap this show up. Pat, are you ready to go, or you would like to go with mine?
I got mine. For my lock, I'm going to go with the LA Rams to defeat the Tennessee Titans. Currently, the Rams are favored by 7.5 points, and let's face it, that Rams defense is fucking scary.
Yes.
And they're only getting scarier because now they ain't got a run game to worry about. They just got to worry about receivers. So I think the Rams will be able to pull that off. Then for my leap, listen, the leaps are dog shit this week. Not going to lie. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the LA Chargers. Chargers are currently favored by 1, but I think Philly's going to be able to pull it off.
Coach?
You'll see my picks on Sunday.
Oh, he's being holding off there. All right, so for my locks, you know what? I'm on the Mac Jones bandwagon. I am taking the Pats 2.5 over Carolina.
My man.
And then for the leaps, and I want to make sure this was a leap that I read correctly, because there was some little disrespect. If I read this wrong, please correct me. The Packers are dogs against Kansas City?
Oh, fuck off. Where's the game?
It is, if I'm looking at the line, I'm going to show you on air here. So
he is pulling out his phone to show me the line.
This is from the CBS page that we do our leaps from.
Yeah, where are they?
Which they get released on Monday.
Yes.
So
looking for the Chiefs. Oh, it's in KC. Ooh, okay.
So I'm seeing that, and I'm saying, give me John Wick all day, every day. Packers 2.5.
We'll say
dogs.
It don't matter who Aaron Rodgers has got a receiver. Apparently, nobody. He still throws bombs.
Yep, I am double checking this because I almost dropped my phone looking at this because I am in shock that this is the case. And I'm like I said, this is happening. This is a real thing. So I'm going to take the Packers plus 2.5. Let's go. So I'll keep it very short and sweet because this has been a very long episode. For everything that you need, music you hear on the show, organizational links supporting Black Lives Matter, the friends of the show at the Classifieds, the directory where you can listen to the podcast anywhere on your favorite podcast providers, the TeePublic store, Parlay Points, and so much more, swing on over to odphpodcast.com. It's been a hell of a show, and it's great to have Coach back in studio. So for your coach, my coach, the coach, Coach Duffy.
Felt good, guys. Thanks for having me. Hopefully I can do this again soon with real life happening. Bing bong. Good night and good luck.
For the one only Padawan J.
Fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you, as always, for listening to the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. See you next time.
Sometimes I lay awake at night, wondering what life would be like if you weren't taken before your time. The lessons you taught me, try to remember, try to engage. Sometimes it feels just like I'm staring at an empty page. I think about the years we had together. Your name will be written on my heart forever. Since I never really got to say goodbye, I'm gonna do my best now to try. I wish that I could call you, hear what you'd have to say. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the